get nasty on a Thursday. It's the Fast Lane on 101 to ESPN. No Carey Davis today. He is in Champaign, Illinois.
What a lucky guy.
Yeah. Illinois kicks off their college football season tonight, and Carey is on the broadcast team for the Fighting Illini. So that's going to be kind of a cool thing to listen to Carey's experience throughout the course of the year. They take on Eastern Illinois tonight, and Carey will be back on Tuesday because we all have the day off on Monday. It's Fast Lane. Appreciate everybody joining us, whether you're listening via the app or on air, or maybe you're watching the YouTube channel, the Air Alliance team YouTube channel. We appreciate having you. Cardinals get it done last night. Walk-off fashion. Nolan Arenado has had himself a pretty good month. Last couple of weeks, Arenado has turned things around. Helps the Cardinals win in walk-off fashion last night, 4-3. And while a series split should not be celebrated, at this point, it's the best you can do against the Padres.
Yeah.
Right now at Busch Stadium, the Cardinals and Padres are tied 0-0. Again, bottom of the third. Sonny Gray is on the hill opposing Michael King, and Michael King has been very good for the Padres this season. So we'll see if the Cardinals can, at the very least, get a series split. Has Nolan Arenado changed your guys' minds about his future?
Oh, about his future?
Yeah. Because we've let's be honest, we've all been down on Nolan.
Yeah. Well, if you look at his OPS, and I found this at Cardinals Stats and Facts, April his OPS was 687, May 689, June 702, July 738, and currently in August 791. So he's had a nice little continual rise to the OPS. It's certainly not the numbers he'd like.
Right.
But I don't know, man. I just don't know. It's a lot of money to pay for a guy who's just above average.
This season, certainly.
This season.
Yeah.
Now, defensively, he still makes a lot of really good plays. I'm not going to take that away from him. Never will. I mean, he's an elite defensive guy. And he's still under contract for a couple of years. Does it change my mind? I don't know. I mean, you want Nolan
just the outlook on him, because look, you're right. You bring up the contract situation for Nolan Arenado, and it kind of is what it is. I know that Carey, for example, has discussed just trade him, get something, get whatever you can for him. But the problem is, if you don't want the contract, who is going to want the contract? In 2025, he's set to earn $21 million. In 2026, $16 million. In 2027, $15 million. He's only going to get older, obviously.
Yeah.
So his value to another team will decrease, and you also have to pay him. Could you eat some of the salary? Certainly. But if we're talking about eating salary and the Cardinals,
yeah,
I don't know if it's a possibility or not. I'm not overly concerned with the $21 million owed to Nolan Arenado next year as I am with Miles Michaelis and Steven Matz, even on one-year deals. Like, if you're going to eat salary, to me, you eat those contracts and give the opportunity to the young guys, whether it is McGreevy or it's not going to be Tink Hence, but maybe Tink Hence at some point next year.
Might be this Quinn Matthews kid.
Who knows?
This guy's on a heater.
To me, at the very least, it hasn't been the best season for Nolan, but of late, it's nice to see him contribute. And again, if we're talking about the contracts, I'd rather eat the contracts of some of the pitchers.
Yeah, I agree. And look, he's still a more than serviceable player right now. Like, OPS of 791. He's coming up with some clutch hits. The home run the other night, the walk-off, like... 2 of
his last 3 hits, I think, have been walk-offs.
Yeah, so when you talk about somebody coming through at the right times, he's been doing that. And, it did say a lot to me last night when he hit the walk-off single. Mason Wynn rips around third, goes across home plate, and turns immediately and makes a beeline for Arenado. Mm-hmm. And, they hug it out and whatnot. And then you see, following the game, Arenado's comments about Mason Wynn, just saying he's been our best player. And all this. And then I go back and watch that celebration again, and they find each other like 2 or 3 times. So maybe Nolan Arenado's having a really good impact on a young Mason Wynn.
Or maybe Mason Wynn is having the impact on Nolan.
Whatever. It looks like they've got a pretty good friendship, relationship, teammates, whatever it is. I know it was a big moment, but those moments usually tell a story. And when you have a teammate that makes a beeline through all the other masses of people to find you, to celebrate with you, and then they're jumping around like, maybe Nolan Arenado, either way, whether he is helping some of the young guys or he's, helping some of the teammates or they're helping him, like, maybe there's no need to get rid of him.
He also mentioned that earlier in the season. Remember, he was talking about Mason Wynn and some of the, Mason Wynn's always talking, and he was saying it in a positive way. Nolan was. Arenado was saying he's always talking. He's always talking to the pitcher. He's always, he's got that youthful exuberance, and it's kind of rubbed off on me. I realize I have kind of lost that, and it happens over time. You've been in the game for a while. We're all different. We talk about, we don't say the same things as we did 10 years ago, 20 years ago. We don't act the same way. I mean, so for Nolan Arenado to say that, I certainly understand where he's coming from. He's still got the 3 years left, and at least in the month of August, he has turned things around, which is good. I guess what I'm trying to say is they've got far bigger problems than paying Nolan Arenado for the next couple of years, and I don't think you're going to get the value on the open market, on the trade market, I should say.
Yeah, we get a text from Grant Francis fan club. It says Arenado is blocking the transition to a new core. So let's just talk about this for a second, because every rebuild, every successful rebuild / retool, whatever you want to call it, transition to the new core has veteran players. It just does.
Right.
Who else is there to show them the way? So even if you look at your Blues right now, that several veteran players, they're going to show the way to Jake Neighbors, Dalibor Dvorsky, pick your Broberg, Holloway.
Right.
If you don't have that veteran presence, even a couple of guys, then who's leading the pack? So I don't look at Nolan Arenado as blocking anybody right now. I don't think Jordan Walker or Nolan Gorman is the answer to third base, to what a lot of people say. Well, they're drafted as third baseman. Are they major league third baseman? I don't know.
Right.
I don't know. But I don't see Nolan Arenado blocking those guys. I don't see him blocking anybody right now. So if that's the case, then why don't you make him part of your transition core so that maybe in his last year of his deal, this team is competitive again?
Sure. Plus, you're also, let's look at it just from a defensive standpoint. I do think they should move on from Paul Goldschmidt. I think that is one area where you can, to the texter's point, open up a spot for a young guy, start to transition to a new core, but you still have Nolan Arenado playing third and Win at short. If you move on from both Goldie and Arenado, again, easier said than done with Arenado. Goldschmidt's a free agent. You just let him walk. But if you move on from both and you're transitioning with a young core that's not as talented as talented defensively, we could sit here and talk about them eating the contracts of Michaelis and some of these other dudes, but it's not like you're replacing them with high strikeout guys. You're still going to need solid defense, especially on the infield. When you're talking about a lot of these pitchers generating ground balls, you are not a strikeout staff overall. I know Sonny Gray's a strikeout pitcher. I know that you have seen an uptick for Kyle Gibson this year from a strikeout standpoint, but largely you're a ground ball staff.
Yeah.
So I think moving on for both those guys would be kind of tricky.
Yeah, and I think, I think Alec Burleson would be a nice replacement for Goldie at first. Brad Thompson, BT, yesterday said, he believes that that's what the Cardinals would do if they do move on from Paul Goldschmidt. And so there's nothing wrong with having Nolan Arenado at third. This doesn't mean I think he's... This doesn't mean I think he's an all-star. It doesn't mean I think that he's a very spectacular player anymore. It just means that you're stuck with the contract, make the best use of it, while at the same time, turning over to the new group of guys that are going to run this team in the next handful of years.
Yeah, I think you could do both.
Yeah.
By the way, the Cardinals just scratched across a run. Lucan Baker with a force out. Scoring. I don't know. I didn't see who that was. Maybe it was Burleson that came across. Arenado shot one to short, and I believe it was a misplay. And we're watching and talking at the same time, so I apologize if this is not the sequence of events. But Arenado got on base. Burleson got on base. Lucan Baker just hit one on the ground to score Burleson. So now it's 1-0
Productive out,
Cardinals.
Anthony.
That would be a productive out for sure.
Yeah,
you put it in play.
Productive out.
Fast lane productive out, which means you actually have to score the run if you get out.
That's right.
None of this moving the runner over. That's not a productive out from the fast lane standpoint. You absolutely need to score. So the Cardinals are 7 games back right now of the Braves for that third spot in the wild card. Braves have won 3 straight. They've won now 9 of their last 11. The Braves are playing really good baseball, unfortunately. But all the Cardinals can do is win and see where they're at when it's all said and done. They got a long, long road out of them to get back into this thing. But as of right now, Cardinals up 1-0 at Busch Stadium. 2:12, your time check is brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. Missouri gets going tonight. Mizzou football program, they take on Murray State. I want to ask you guys this, and I'd love to hear from the listeners too, especially Mizzou fans. This is the biggest Mizzou football season since. Let's answer that next on 101 ESPN. Tonight, the Missouri Tigers will host the Murray State Racers. Non-conference matchup for Mizzou. Now, last year, we entered the season saying, we'll see. They got lots of proof. We'll see. And we collectively, the Fast Lane, we had our doubts. Jamie, I know you and I definitely.
Well,
and Marsh was in there too.
I said we're going to have a 7-win season.
We had doubts. And when they opened up their season with a couple of, let's just say, uninspired victories.
Squeakers.
Yeah, against opponents they probably should have blown out. That did nothing to quell our concerns. I had said a couple of days ago, the moment things turned around for me was when they went to Lexington to take on a Kentucky team that they've had issues with before, and they were coming off the home loss to LSU. That's, to me, when things started to turn around. They fell behind early, and I thought, well, see ya. This is it for Mizzou now. Mm-hmm. And instead, they showed grit in the second half. They came back in that one, got a couple of big victories, wound up with a good bowl game. I don't care how many starters Ohio State played and did not play. I don't give a crap. It was Ohio State, and they won that one. Built all this momentum heading into the offseason. Then you get these big-time transfers, a couple along the offensive line, couple along the D-line. You bring in these big-time transfers. You create all this momentum. So my question to you guys, and you can participate, 314-399-9646. This is the biggest Mizzou season since. I'm talking about preseason.
Yeah, I said it to you in the break. To me, it's since the Chase Daniel era.
So the Chase Daniel. So we found the team. This is to get Jamie and I were kicking this around, as he just mentioned. The 2008 team came in ranked 6 in the nation. That was their preseason rank. That was the team that had Chase Daniel on it. It had, the defense had Sean Weatherspoon and Willie Moe. I mean, that Evander Hood. The defense was pretty good. I think that's the year, at least in our lifetime. If you look at it preseason, I think this is the biggest Mizzou season since that 2008 team. Like, you could go back to 49, 50, whatever. That
was a good year.
In our lifetime, since we've been following football, this is there. And here's the other thing: is this the biggest season for Mizzou?
No, I don't think it is. I think it's parallel to the 2008 team because expectations, from what I remember, expectations were high for that team. I mean, the college football world was talking about Chase Daniel, like they were raving about him, and then Mizzou. It's like that was the last time for me. So I've been here since 1993, and 2008 was the first time and the last time until this season where I remember lots of buzz about the Mizzou football team.
Sure. Apart
from that, I remember people talking about a lot of heartbreak. It's Mizzou. Mm-hmm. They went and Mizzou'd it.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Or they just got bad luck.
Whatever.
5th down and all that.
They got Mizzou'd.
Yeah.
But that's the team that I remember people talking about. And then leading up to this, Eli Drinkwitz has created a swell over his tenure with Mizzou. The program has just continued to trend upward to where you're right now. You're one of the top 10 teams in the country. Mm-hmm. And the season's starting, expectations are high. So you might be right. The expectations might be higher for this team, whereas in 2008, the expectations were not high. They were okay, they're on par.
Yeah.
That team's good. Yeah, that Mizzou team's got a great squad. But this year, it's okay, they started over here, and now they're moving up the food chain.
Well, and to me, how much does do the expectations change because it's a wide open field this year? Mm-hmm. We're not talking about 2008 when there's only going to be a handful of teams ultimately that are going to vie for a national championship. Now you've got the expanded playoffs. You are a playoff threat. You have an opportunity coming into the year before the Florida State loss to really make some noise. Then Florida State loses. So already a top 10 team is booted. Mm-hmm. They've got a loss. So now it's the Seminoles. Seminoles can't lose the rest of the season. Good luck with that. And Mizzou now climbs even further. So I think expectations, for me at least, have risen because you now have an expanded playoff field. You can get into the playoffs and really do some damage here, as opposed to you just have first of all, you can't ever lose. And then even when you get there, if you do, there's a rating system and all that other crap.
Vote you out.
Exactly. So I don't know. I'm really looking forward to this season.
What about you?
I'd probably say 2014 when they played Alabama and, a chance to go to what I believe would have been the first time that the college football playoff had been there. Alabama won that game. They ended up being the number 1 seed. So I think if Mizzou wins that game, perhaps they find themselves in the college football playoff. And then I think we're looking at this conversation a little bit different. But I think it's just different looking at the 2 seasons just because, like, that Chase Daniel team, they were 1 win away from the national title. And that would have been if West Virginia ends up beating Pitt and Mizzou defeats Oklahoma, that would have been one of the weirdest college football national championships I would have ever seen. Instead, we end up getting LSU and Ohio State.
Right.
That's just how college football works, right? But I think my answer is 2014, just because of, 1, it's more recent, and 2, it's in this new era of college football, and it was the most, recent success that Mizzou has seen.
So I'm referring to, and I understand what you're saying. So what I'm referring to is right now, heading into the season, the biggest.
Yeah, so the 2014 team.
I know what you're saying.
Did they have high expectations for that team, or did the team exceed expectations?
They were ranked 24th.
Okay.
At this time. So I'm saying preseason ranking. I'm looking at it right now. In 2014, the preseason ranking for the AP, 24th. And they stayed there until they climbed to 18th week 4.
Well, if that's the case, I would then almost say that it had to be the year after both of these seasons had happened, because you're then coming off of a great season and you think that then you could take that next step. And ultimately, Mizzou didn't take that next step. So I find this season to be interesting because they weren't necessarily in the national championship conversation, but they were definitely in, the conversation for a college football playoff heading into that Georgia game.
Yep.
And so, you come off a Cotton Bowl victory and you have high expectations this year.
Is this the biggest season?
I think it has to be, just because I think this is the biggest college football season.
Yeah, I agree.
This is the biggest college football season.
Do all 3 of us agree?
Yeah, I think so.
Marcy, write that down. That never happens.
This is fun, man. We are embarking on a new era in college football, and one of our teams, the team that we follow here mostly, has a squad that is a playoff contender.
Do you guys think they're going to have that Mizzou moment? You know what I'm talking. I don't want to put that bad juju out there.
But for sure.
Are they going to stub their toe on one of the weaker opponents, and then going into the next week, it's like Alabama?
If they were going
I look at Boston College, and I'm like, that right there is the corner of the table that you stub your toe on.
If they're going to do it, Kyle and I were going back and forth the other day. If they're going to do it, it's against Auburn. Because they got Alabama the next day.
I can see them.
Next week.
I don't think they'll lose to Boston College, but I do find that opponent to be interesting. They're playing, around that same time as September 11th, and Boston College. They come out, they wear the red bandanas. Mm-hmm. I don't know if that's more of a home game type thing. I think that game would be on the road for Boston College. But it is still like around that time in Boston College. Like, sports are funny, right? Like, things just happen. It doesn't matter on paper what a team looks like. Mm-hmm. Sometimes there's just magical moments. And I hope for Mizzou's sake that Boston College doesn't have one of those because it's around that time.
So Boston College, their red bandana game for 2024 will be against Michigan State September 21st.
Okay.
So just some point of reference.
So they come here, don't they?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, okay.
And that's what Marsh was saying. He didn't know if there was going to be a home game. And for those that don't know, the Red Bandana game, it's an annual college football game for Boston College. It honors, as Crowther, a Boston College alumni who died while serving others September 11th, 2001. So it's a huge deal. He was a volunteer firefighter, so they certainly get up for that one. And he became known as the man in the red bandana for wearing a red bandana as a mask while rescuing people from the World Trade Center. So, I mean, it's
awesome.
like I got goosebumps thinking about it. So that's what that game is, in case, again, most of you know it. For those that don't, that's a little history.
I'd rather not play them on that game.
You don't have to worry about that. Yeah, that's Michigan State. All right, it's Fast Line on 101 ESPN. Again, Mizzou gets it going tonight against Murray State. 7 o'clock kickoff, and it's going to be on SEC Network. We'll see what the home attendance is. Huh, boys? Drink a little upset.
Apparently sold out, man.
Well, there you go. Drink did his job.
He did.
He's got to yell at fans more. Just like Greg Amsinger did earlier today when he yelled at Cardinals fans. We'll get to that next on 101 ESPN.
101 ESPN Sports Center.
I'm Andrew Marsh. It's time for a Sports Center update driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. After a Nolan Arenado walk-off single, the Cardinals look to split with the Padres. They currently lead San Diego 2-0 in the bottom of the fourth inning. We'll continue giving you updates throughout the remainder of the day. We just talked about Mizzou football. The Tigers will kick off their season tonight against Murray State with a 7 o'clock kickoff. If you missed anything from today's show, make sure you go to 101ESPN.com or check out the free 101 mobile app. Just head to the podcast page. You'll find all of our full shows there, and it's all brought to you by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. This Sports Center update is driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. See them at londoff.com. Chevy, together we drive. Are you kidding me?
Greg Amsinger of MLB Network and, of course, of Lindenwood fame appears on the opening drive or whatever show Randy does, because Randy and Greg are tight, and Greg has been outstanding to 101 ESPN. He has always wanted to remain connected here in St. Louis. He's from here, and even though his star rose for the last decade plus at MLB Network, he always he had the connection to St. Louis. He's a huge Cardinals fan. So again, he's been great to 101. Earlier today on the opening drive with Randy Carricker, Dan McLaughlin, and Brooke Grimsley, Randy asked Greg about the low attendance at Busch Stadium, something that we have discussed. And our standpoint has always been, hey, you don't like the product? That's how you can hold ownership and Mo and whoever accountable. It's not us talking 4 hours a day. We can crush the Cardinals all we want for 4 hours. It's not going to matter. You not spending on the product, that matters. And now you're speaking loudly, because as the game goes right now, there's nobody there. And there hasn't been people there for a while.
There are people there, just not a lot. Come on, Anthony.
People taking advantage of those free tickets. Otherwise, nobody's there. So Randy asked Greg today about the low attendance, and what Greg said, to me, was completely unexpected. Here's Greg Amsinger.
It kind of makes me mad. Like, I'm not even kidding you. It kind of makes me mad, because when I was a kid growing up, when Bernard Gilkey, Ray Langford, and Brian Jordan were young outfielders and the Cardinals were losing a ton, there were at least 30,000 fans in the seats every night. I mean, I was going as many times as possible with my mom and dad. And to watch this product get no support at all, and here they are hovering around 500. I mean, I hate saying it, but I heard what Don Orsillo and Mudcat Grant said during the Padres broadcast the other night when they were in St. Louis, and I kind of agree. This is not the St. Louis that I'm used to seeing. And when I talk to my friends who are quote-unquote loyal Cardinal fans, they're kind of angry. They're like, this isn't the product I want to support. I'm a paying customer. I pay for these guys' salaries, which is the most – when a fan says that to me, it drives me absolutely crazy. Like, now, you wouldn't really feel what it feels like to pay Paul Goldschmidt's salary? We can do this as a demo on live TV over the course of a year. We'll garnish your wages, and you will pay Paul Goldschmidt's salary so you can actually say that to me. Drives me crazy. Drives me crazy. But anyway, I listen. I try to have patience, and there's so much vitriol right now. I don't get it. We are the best fans in baseball. We are. But right now, it's a bad performance. It looks like Cardinal fans are in an 0 for 12 slump right now. They can dig themselves out of it. There's still a month left. But right now, Cardinal fans, you're not hitting above 200. And that is a very sad thing to say.
Oh, so kind of an interesting approach.
He was a little bit of all over the place there.
He was, but I think the main theme has been or was for Greg Amsinger is, well, this is your fault, Cardinals fans. You still have to show up.
Out of that?
You still have to show up. That's what Greg is saying.
Yeah. No, he's
Doesn't
disappointed.
matter.
He can't believe they're not supporting the product.
Doesn't matter how bad they are, you still got to show up. It doesn't matter. And he's saying that average. He even said earlier with the average, they're right around 500. He's mystified. The fans aren't packing that place with a mediocre product. I don't understand it at all.
Yeah.
The only part I agreed with wholeheartedly, in fact, was the whole, we pay your salary. No, you don't. The Cardinals pay Paul Goldschmidt's salary, just like the Yankees pay Aaron Judge's salary, not the fine little league team from Staten Island, you know?
But what Greg, with Greg saying that, let's go back, okay? Mm-hmm. Greg saying, well, you don't pay the salary, we'll garnish your wages. That I thought, I was like, okay, listen, Greg. The ownership literally said a couple of years ago, like, we need to keep the attendance. And when right before the Albert Pujols season, they talked about needing fans in the stands. And after the Albert season, they had such great attendance, they talked about payroll going to go up. So the fans have no choice but to correlate them going to the game to higher salaries.
Right.
They have no choice because the organization's kind of painted that picture. And just like earlier this year when Bill DeWitt III kind of scoffed at they won't show up. Like, come on. Well, they're not showing up now.
Right.
And it's become a topic of conversation, not just locally, but nationally as well. So the fans, although they don't directly pay, when they don't show up, it hurts the team's bottom line. So that's why I think fans feel that way. And again, I go back to the original comment, the team saying, you guys coming through has enabled us to spend more.
Right.
So then what are we supposed to think, Anthony?
Right. So, okay, if you don't,
right?
What's the incentive to get better then? If Cardinals fans, just because they're the best fans in baseball, they're going to pack the place.
It's what's happening right now. This is the incentive to get better. It's not
from the Cardinals' perspective.
Yes.
But if this place is packed right now, what's the incentive for the front office to say we're going to keep spending? I already got your money.
Well, they alluded to that following the last season for Albert Pujols. Again, going back to that, they alluded, we'll be able to spend more now. John Mozeliak, I forget his exact quote, but basically said, hey, we're going to put this money to use.
Right.
Payroll's going to go up. I know he said that.
Yes.
So that's the only thing is Cardinals. The Cardinals fans, I think, now feel like, well, it really didn't go up. Like, we didn't go get that massive star that you not that they promised, but that you alluded to.
Yeah.
So why the hell would we go now? We came and showed up, and you didn't do it.
Exactly. This isn't quite a bait and switch, but to some degree it is. It's almost like a look over here situation. Hey, guys, you showed up. Thank you. You're fantastic. Excellent work. We're going to get one player. You're welcome. And then it doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
Right? And it's like, well, hey, guys, listen, attendance dipped a little bit, but still got something for you. Got 3 players this time. Still, you know what I mean? Like,
I get it.
Cardinals fans aren't stupid. I respect Greg Amsinger a lot. I used to be the producer of this show. I had to book Greg every week. He was nothing but kind to me. I'm not making it personal, Greg. His comments come off tone deaf. His comments come off as, I've been at MLB Network for a long time. I'm detached from what's going on here in St. Louis with this club.
He's not in the trenches every day watching what's going on.
No. I've never believed that the Cardinals don't want to improve or they don't want to win. ... But only to a certain point, only to a certain degree. As long as we're not risking too much, we're going to put this roster together. I think that they need an organizational shift. I think they're behind the times. And I think finally, and I'm going to say finally, the fans said enough. Because Greg's talking about, hey, you're 0 for 12 or whatever. Are you serious?
Yeah, I don't like him putting it on the fans. This has nothing to do with the fans.
Are you serious?
It's the product.
They didn't show up last year because you're a last place team. This year, they know what the outcome is. This is the equivalent of, hey, you know what? Here's a rom-com. You know exactly what's going to happen. You know exactly how it's going to play out. It's $22 a ticket. Come watch it. No. No.
Well, who's in it?
Usual cast. Whoever's in a damn rom-com these days.
It depends. Some people are worth seeing.
Glenn Powell, he's in like everything now.
Colin Powell, he's in it.
I'm in then.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Come buy this product. You know what's going to happen. You know the outcome. But come anyways. And pay for the popcorn and pay for the parking and all that stuff. Again, I think Greg comes off as tone deaf here.
It really is tone deaf. And again, it's the national view of it, right? Is from Greg, because he's not in the trenches every day talking about this Cardinals team, listening to all the audio, reading all the articles, talking to people locally. It's not that he's out of touch. He's just not in the know.
Yeah.
And so he looks back and he's like, well, it's still a Cardinal team. You're hovering around 500. Like,
right,
it's Cardinal baseball. You still have Nolan Arenado, you have Paul Goldschmidt, but you haven't seen some of the ish show that it has been for the last 2 years.
Right.
And how they've handled certain situations and how from a PR standpoint, they've handled everything wrong. Everything wrong. From the Contreras, backing a bus over to him, to last year, a few of the different press conferences, then no press conference at the end of the season. Ollie Marmol gets an extension after a losing season. But from a PR standpoint, the Cardinals have fumbled everything.
Right.
But Greg's not recognizing that. He's just thinking the best fans in baseball need to show up anyway. You don't.
No, you don't.
You just don't.
You speak to the fan base. You speak to the ownership the way you're doing right now. So I don't fault Cardinals fans whatsoever. In fact, again, you've been ticked off for years now. For years, this fan base has been frustrated and ticked off. And finally, they said, enough's enough. To the point where now we have empty seats and free tickets.
That's unbelievable, by the way.
Yeah, I agree. All right, it's Fastlane on 101 ESPN. We got What's Trending coming up next.
Find out what's going on in the sports world with What's Trending Now. Brought to you by Goodwill. Donate a car and get tickets to the St. Louis Cardinals.
Welcome back to the Fast Lane here on 101 ESPN with Anthony Stalter and Jamie Rivers. I'm Andrew Marsh, and it's time for What's Trending. ESPN announced that Bill Belichick will be a featured guest on the Manning Cast every week this season during the first half. Throughout the season, Peyton Manning and Bill Belichick will host a 30-minute show every Friday previewing that week's Monday Night Football game, and the show will include a film room and schematic breakdown focusing on team and player tendencies as well as the game plan approach for both teams. I think that sounds awesome.
So wait, he's going to be on the Manning Cast weekly, right?
Yes.
And then what's
for the first half?
Okay, so then what's the other show? Because I'm more interested in him breaking down film and showing me how that works.
Yeah, it's a 30-minute show every Friday that will preview the Monday Night Football game, and both of those, both of them will be, breaking stuff down.
So that's on ESPN?
Yes.
I can't wait. Can you imagine having Bill Belichick with the video showing you what to look for, what teams are doing, how to stop it?
Yeah.
That's invaluable.
I mean, honestly, here's my prediction. I think that his kind of like approval rating is about to go up. I think everything that he has done has humanized him this offseason. I think honestly, as we look back, I think the best thing that probably happened to him is that he didn't get a head coach job. He did the roast, the Tom Brady roast.
Well, that was uncomfortable for him,
He was
too.
uncomfortable, but he did it, and I think he got high marks on that. He's
got himself a new girlfriend.
He's got himself a new girlfriend, which was alluded to a couple times.
Yep. Who seems to be much younger.
Well, sure, yeah.
Probably bringing him into the times.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Bill's going to have a TikTok soon.
Yeah. Yep. Dynasty kind of that did
vilified him.
That did not go well, I think, for the Patriots when you look back. Like there was a lot of people were killing Bill there for a second because he didn't come across great. But if you look back now, I think that, again, his approval rating kind of improved. You looked at the roast and then some of the media appearances he's done.
Pat McAfee show. He's awesome on that, too, by the way. So here's my question to you guys then. Obviously, he's being paid pretty good money to do what he's doing.
Yeah.
What does an NFL coach like Bill Belichick make? Guesstimate.
Oh, man.
10?
Couple, yeah.
10 million?
Probably 10 mil, yeah.
Okay.
Belichick, obviously.
Yeah, Belichick, correct. I think he's going to maybe get close to that, doing everything he's doing this year with ESPN and the Pat McAfee show. Because he gets paid every time the camera's on him. It's not like unless they're salarying him and they're using the heck out of him. But either way, his agent's not going to sign off on having him barely make money. He's Bill friggin' Belichick. Does he go back to coaching?
Yeah, I think he does. So 25 mil.
That's what he made?
Yeah. Annual salary toward the end was 25 mil.
Well, he's not tickling that right now.
No, he's not. However, yeah, he made over 200 million coaching the Patriots.
So he doesn't it's not like he needs the money. No, it's easy for me to say because it's not my money.
Yeah.
But I'm sure Bill Belichick would like to keep making that kind of money.
The only thing, I think he's just a coaching lifer. His dad was a coach. I mean, he's all about football. But I wonder if he's
finally having fun, Anthony.
I don't know if that man can have fun.
But watch him. Now he's laughing, he's joking, he's even cracking jokes. He fires back at Pat McAfee.
I know, I'm with you. I think he goes back to coaching. That's my prediction.
I don't know, man. To me, I feel like he was just miserable the last year of Brady, and then after that, Bill looked miserable.
Yeah.
Like he hated it.
He probably did.
Yeah.
And he knew too that with Brady gone, it was all the criticism, everything was on him.
Well, and then Brady winning the Super Bowl right after.
Right. Yep.
So that's going to be fun to watch. I'll be tuning in.
I also think, real quick, and I know Marcia got some other stuff here, but I'll also say this. I wonder if he didn't get the head coaching gig in Atlanta because he wanted to bring Josh McDaniels. He may have to separate from the McDaniels crew.
He didn't get that job because Robert
Patricia
Kraft
crew.
picked up the phone and called what's his name?
Yeah, Arthur Blank.
Yeah.
But I think some of the other, so maybe not in Atlanta, but there's other teams I think that were concerned with him just bringing the New England, the exact thing that didn't work over the last couple of years, to the next destination, including McDaniels and Patricia and all those other guys. Go ahead, Mark. Sorry.
Well, speaking of ESPN, they are launching a first-of-its-kind Where to Watch feature in the app, and it will serve as a guide for sports fans to find how to watch any sport event on ESPN platforms and beyond, including broadcast, cable, and regional sports networks and streaming services. The company said that yesterday. I think this is huge for the fans. I know me in particular, sometimes when I want to watch a game that I don't necessarily, like if it's a national game, I don't really know where I could watch it if I didn't have the apps, of course. So I think something like this is really cool to help fans understand or just know where they can watch certain sports games.
Yeah, it can be difficult. It can be. I know from traveling a lot, and you get into other cities, and you don't know what the channels are in their area. So something like that could help for sure.
Yeah, that's neat. It's just, it's just using technology to, I don't know, actually help consumers as opposed to taking advantage of them or stealing their identity. Things like that.
Wow, that got dark.
Well, I'm just saying.
Wow.
We're going to listen to every conversation you have.
But they're already listening. We know that. Our phones right now are listening, Anthony. They are.
Of course they are.
Anthony, you'll love this. This is from The Athletic. An NFL agent says the Jets are in complete disarray and that Aaron Rodgers is not a team player. In quote, there is complete disarray over there. Look at how they've handled Aaron Rodgers. Has one player had more power than him? He skipped minicamp. They have been unable to convert him into a team player. The vibe inside the building is terrible.
So
does not surprise me
they're
at
consistent
all.
with being the Jets.
Honestly, they deserve each other. The Jets have been just a team that has been in turmoil since, I don't know, Super Bowl III. Like, as soon as Joe Willie did the one after beating the Baltimore Colts in Super Bowl III, the Jets have never been the same. Ownership, an absolute mess. And now Aaron Rodgers, who the Packers moved on from. Let's get this right. The Packers moved on from him. They had a decision to make, and they went with Jordan Love. And thus far, that decision was smart. They moved on.
Well, Rodgers wanted out, too.
Sure.
And I think because he saw the writing on the wall.
Either way, him and the Jets, I think, are a perfect marriage. And everybody thinks that he's just going to be fun.
Two dysfunctional people that fell in love.
He didn't look the same. He didn't look the same 2 years ago. That was before the Achilles injury.
He didn't
and
look
before
the same last year in those first couple of downs.
No, he did not. No, he did not. I think it's going to be a disaster. I really do.
It already is, kind of.
Yeah, very true. Got one more for us, Mush?
Yeah, just last thing here. There's been a lot of discussion between Bobby Witt Jr. and Aaron Judge for the American League MVP. Where do you guys fall in that camp? Because Bobby Witt Jr. is having an unbelievable season right now, one of the best we've seen from a shortstop. However, Aaron Judge, on the other hand, continues to mash baseballs. Where do you guys fall in line with that conversation?
So let me ask you this, Anthony.
Yeah.
Which player do you think impacts every game more? Is it Bobby Witt Jr. or Aaron Judge? Because I feel like Aaron Judge impacts the game more. From a pitching standpoint, even though Bobby Witt Jr. hits the ball well, but from a pitching standpoint, if you are not perfect, it's touching seats. Not just once, maybe twice, maybe 3 times in a game.
Yeah.
And heaven forbid there's guys on base in front of him.
Right.
And he's an excellent outfielder. He's got a cannon for an arm. So you can't drop the Bobby Witt defense on me because Aaron Judge is as good an outfielder as anybody is.
Yeah, you can come back with saying the shortstop, obviously a premium position, but still. I mean,
agree.
They're both.
For me, it's Aaron Judge.
So Judge is a 9.8 WAR player. Bobby Witt 9.5. They're right there. Judge has 51 home runs. Witt 28. 27 stolen bases for Witt, 7 for Judge. Judge has driven in 123 to Witt's 95, but Witt scored more, 114 to 104. I mean, these statistics are very close.
That's why I said, for me, it comes down to your own personal opinion of what you view.
I also think, too, I mean, I know he's got Soto. I know Stanton, but Stanton's in and out of the lineup constantly. The rest of the Yankees lineup is really filled with guys you've never heard of. Austin Wells.
Oh, the Yankees?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Cabrera. Now, I know it's the Royals, but you still got Perez. Hunter Renfroe's having a decent
Paul
year.
DeYoung, 23 home
Paul
runs
DeYoung now since becoming a Royal. I'll give it to Judge. I'm not going to fight anybody that says that Bobby Witt Jr. is the MVP.
There's no wrong answer.
I mean, these two guys have been just incredible.
I agree.
And here's another thing, too, I think that we should talk about. Witt, 134 games played. Judge, 132. They're going to post every day.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. All right. It's Fastlane on 101 ESPN. I was thinking about this driving into work today. Doug Armstrong has created a training camp buzz despite the team missing the playoffs the last 2 years and him not signing a massive free agent, which is always the thing that is supposed to get every fan fired up, right? Mm-hmm. How did Army do it? We're going to get into that next on 101 ESPN. Your time check is brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler, with Jamie Rivers. I'm Anthony Stalter. Andrew Marsh here as well. No Carey Davis. Carey will be back on Tuesday. He's covering Illini football tonight as they take on Eastern Illinois. I was thinking about this driving into work today. It's interesting. You know, we talk a lot about fans' perspective, how willing and exciting they are, how willing they are to show up for like preseason or regular season games. What sort of buzz is there heading into training camp, spring training? And a lot of times it's like, wow, I can't wait to see the new players. Can't wait to see the rookie players. Can't wait to see, the changes that the team made. It's amazing to me how Doug Armstrong has created buzz out of almost nothing. They haven't made the playoffs the last 2 years. They have not signed a massive free agent. It's not, or traded for one. It's not like they acquired Brady Tkachuk this offseason. And yet, as you noted the other day, you were talking to somebody and they say, I'm so excited. And you're like, well, yeah, for the season? No, for training camp.
Yeah.
He has created this buzz. Maybe some of it has to do with the fact that the Cardinals, people are checked out on. I think that's part of it.
So last night was out just in my area, out there in Cottleville, in Frankie Martin's garden. Marsh, you know that place. Anthony, got to get you out there one night. You love it. It's great. And people walk up and they talk and whatnot. And somebody flat out said to me, I can't wait for the Blues season to start. I was like, yeah, it's going to be, I'm so frustrated with the Cardinals that I cannot wait for the Blues season to start. So, yes, to your point.
So I think, like you said, we have to at least acknowledge that. Like, it's going to be new. It's going to be fresh. It's going to be like just by default, people are looking forward to it. However, it's not like Army sat on the sidelines all offseason and now is just reaping the benefits because the Cardinals are average. He's created a buzz by making smart moves, savvy moves to improve his club. And I think, we had the conversation about Greg Amsinger. Why aren't you showing up? This is a 500 team. And I use the term tone deaf. I think he's tone deaf. I think one of the reasons why he's tone deaf is that he doesn't grasp the fact that fans are tired of not knowing what the damn vision is.
Yeah.
What's the identity? Doug Armstrong, conversely, has created a vision. I see what he's doing. I don't see the game like you do. I don't know the team like you do. But even me, I'm like, I see the vision for his roster. Mm-hmm. The moves that he has made sense. So to me, Jamie, he has created a buzz out of almost nothing.
Well, also too, like listening to Army yesterday on the air with us, and he knows there's not enough chairs for everybody at the table. Mm. He knows. There's going to be one-way contracted NHL players that don't have a place to play following training camp. What does that do? It increases the intensity of every practice, of every inter-squad game, of every preseason game. You're not going to have too many guys. Now, there's obviously a handful of guys on the team that will not be affected in any way because of their contracts and their status and all that stuff. But the bottom six forwards and all of your defensemen except for Falk, Leddy, and Parayko, that whole group is competing because nobody in those areas is guaranteed a spot, and they're not guaranteed to be on a power play or a penalty kill. So that just increases the jam of training camp, and that's what Army's done. So what's the best way to get your team to pull out of a funk? Find a way to make them compete every day. We had Craig Berube, who's a dear friend of ours, was an awesome coach, came on here weekly, and the number one thing he wants out of his players, compete. Mm-hmm. Problem is, after you lose and there's nobody nipping at your heels, like the guys who aren't competitive or who just kind of sort of compete, they're no risk for them because the cupboards were bare of the young players and the prospects and all that stuff. So what did Army do? He filled up the cupboards. I mean, overfilled them. Now you're going to see who are your competitors. Because if those guys who kind of sort of compete are out there and there's three other guys for that same position that are competitors, you're out. Yep. You're gone. Like, just not going to be able to hide in the weeds anymore. The grass just got cut down like the greens at the golf course. There's no hiding.
Right.
And so that's what I think is the best part is Army. We say Army. The front office, because I know Army is the top guy, but he always discusses things with everybody. The front office has made a very conscious thought here to create competitiveness for their training camp because we have too many players for our roster. Mm-hmm. So let's see who rises to the top. And that's what I think the buzz is right now. And, of course, the two offer sheets. Never been done in NHL history, by the way. Ever. And your Blues did it. Like, imagine if John Mozeliak did something that's never been done in Major League Baseball.
Right.
And your Cardinals did it.
Yeah.
That would get the flames going in your belly. Like, yes, that's my Cardinals. But now people are like, oh, yeah, my Cardinals. We're going to sign the next 40-year-old pitcher.
I'm going to tell you exactly what they're going to do.
100%.
Yep.
But now people are like, they wake up every day going, what did Army do today? What's he going to do? And if the team starts off poorly, well, don't worry. Army's got this covered. He's going to do something. He's going to try and fix this. He'll get rid of players. He'll bring in, You're always thinking to yourself, at least Army's trying to stay competitive.
And that doesn't, excuse me, that also doesn't mean, of course, that the results are going to be there, but it creates a different sense of where, a direction where this club is heading. By the way, speaking of the Cardinals, Mason Wynn just touched seats. He had a solo home run. So now the Cardinals are up 3-1 in the series finale against the Padres. The pitching has been solid today for the Cardinals. Sonny Gray is on the hill, and they've gotten a couple of big hits when they've needed it. So Sonny Gray, Mason Wynn just hit one off of the facing for Big Mac land. So
we got a lot of texts coming in, as I figured we would, Anthony. Mm-hmm. The common theme is Army communicates what the plan is. Then it said Army will let a rookie win a spot if he wins it. Another one says, wait, so you're saying Army went to the grocery store and bought extra milk, not just milk for dinner tonight?
Right. Yeah. Yeah, that goes to my grocery store, my overused grocery store analogy, but the texter just nailed it. That's a perfect statement on that. Mm-hmm. It's my major complaint with the Cardinals. It's like, okay, we're going to get exactly for what we need for this dinner. Okay, good, yeah. You got dinner for everybody. Okay, good. What are you complaining about? Well, what the hell are you going to do tomorrow? What are you going to do next week? There seems to be a lack of foresight.
There is, and that goes back to our comments yesterday, our discussion yesterday is I don't know what the Cardinals' philosophy is. I don't know what the strategy is. I have no idea what their vision is. Mm-hmm. Whereas when you just brought up, you said, I don't know as much about hockey as you do, but yeah. I know what the Blues are doing. I now see what they're doing here.
I know what the vision is.
The vision is there. So it is interesting to see the contrast of the two organizations, and we'll see. Hopefully, training camp is a lot of fun to watch, and hopefully the Blues take steps forward this year. I'm looking for something right now, Anthony.
Well, as you do that, hey, just want to remind you can join 101 ESPN for the second annual Blues and Brews on Friday evening on September 20th at the Anheuser-Busch Brewery. You can get fired up for the Blues season at this outdoor street party. We're going to be there. We're going to be doing a live broadcast, so we're looking forward to that. And the event features live music from country music star Matt Stell and St. Louis's own Charles Glenn Group, plus confirmed appearances by Braden Shen and Drew Bannister, Jake Neighbors, Dylan Holloway, Philip Broberg, and several Blues alumni are expected to be there as well. Tickets are just on sale for $20, and you can check it out. You can check out the event details and much more information at 101ESPN.com.
So Katie Wu tweeting out 6 minutes ago that the Cardinals are placing Tommy Pham on waivers.
This one has been rumored now for a little bit. Mm-hmm. If you're out of contention, now's the time to put some of the veteran guys that you don't expect to bring back. And Tommy Pham's a free agent, so it's not like it was like bringing back Tommy Pham made a lot of sense. So he was placed on waiver. I do got a question for you, though. We'll get to it next on 101 ESPN. So, heading out of that last segment, Jamie noted that the Cardinals will put not Mason Wynn. Oh, jeez, that'd be awful, huh?
Can you imagine?
Mason Wynn hit the home run. Tommy Pham. That'd be awful.
Yeah, it would be.
We'd dedicate a whole show to more Cardinal stupidity. Tommy Pham. Tommy Pham was placed on waivers. This isn't shocking. This was something that had been coming up here for a little bit. I was actually surprised they hadn't done it already, because teams that are either out of it, or like the Cardinals or like the Giants. The Giants put three guys on waivers yesterday. Teams that are like, we're still in it, kind of ish. They're starting to put players on waivers. So not surprising that Tommy Pham is somebody that the Cardinals decide to put on waivers. My question to you guys, though, is they needed a quote-unquote right-handed bat to hit lefties. Why wasn't that opportunity given to Jordan Walker?
You're reading my mind.
Right.
The moment, so I heard it being rumored, started yesterday, then he played, so I was like, okay, well, that's weird, then noticing this morning that he wasn't playing, thought to myself, okay, maybe they're going to waive him. Then I thought, well, then what the hell was the purpose of bringing him in here?
Yeah.
Like, you brought him in here for that right-handed bat. He made an impact right away with the bat and also with his attitude. Mm-hmm. People were like very high on what he was bringing to the clubhouse and to the organization. But ultimately, he ended up just taking all the reps from Jordan Walker. Why would you not have Jordan Walker, who plays just as good defensively as Tommy Pham? We saw that.
Yep.
Tommy Pham he booted a few balls around out there. And I'm not saying Jordan Walker would do the same thing, but if you're worried about that part of it, Jordan Walker's just fine.
Yep.
And give him the reps. But they didn't. And now that amount of time has been eaten up, and now this player's being put on waivers for whatever reason. I imagine the Cardinals are going to say because they want to give him an opportunity to catch on with a contender.
That will absolutely be the reason.
I'm telling you.
Yeah.
I'll go even a step further. I don't know why you would bring in a guy who is supposedly a spark plug and then take that spark away from him. How are you supposed to be a spark plug if you're not even playing? Like, how are players supposed to rally around a certain mindset when that guy's not even in the lineup?
Yeah.
You're not going to look at that guy and be like, well, man, Tommy Pham, he's really on my butt, and he's telling me to do all these things. But he's not even in the damn lineup.
Now he's on his butt.
Yeah. He's sitting there on the pine. Like, how do you... that mindset, it makes no sense to me.
Yeah, I agree. So this to me, it also goes into... This is just my opinion, man. I could be way off on this. And it could be as simple as the Cardinals don't know what they're doing from a development standpoint. But for me, are you actually giving guys enough runway to completely fail? Or are you protecting them in and out of the lineup, trying to set them up for success, and you look and you're like, well, the guy's got 250 at-bats. He don't have it. Did you let him fail? Did you let him succeed? I think about two players in this regard. Forget the guys that are gone now. Forget the Rosarinas and the Carl. How about two guys that are here?
Okay.
Michael Ciani came up. Uh-huh. He was given an opportunity. It wasn't pretty offensively for a long time. I mean, he was dreadful. He had some dreadful numbers offensively. They played him. They liked him. They liked the defense that kept him in the lineup, let him roll. Toward the end, before he got hurt, offensively, he had been very good for the previous month. Victor Scott II. Now he gets his opportunity. They're going to leave him the hell alone. They're going to let him play. Won pretty offensively for a while, was it?
No.
And now he's starting to come alive a little bit. Baseball has always been, and still is, a marathon sport. Over 162 games, where are you as a team? It's not football. You can have a bad month in football, season's over with. Baseball, full season, at the end of the year, your numbers are going to be your numbers, right? Like, they're going to be typically the back of the baseball card. So I think where things get lost with this Cardinals team and moving on from young players, and why do they always succeed elsewhere? They're given an opportunity. And people have pushed back on this for me. Like, oh, well, Nolan Gorman had his opportunities. Did he?
It's a pretty big runway.
He had more of a runway than Jordan Walker, I'll give you that.
Yeah.
Dylan Carlson?
he had a pretty big runway too. Injuries screwed him.
In and out of the lineup.
Yeah, but injuries helped.
He came in as a fourth outfielder again.
Yeah,
this season.
So here's where I'll disagree with you.
Sure.
Because I think Dylan Carlson had ample opportunity to establish himself. We're not talking like it's many seasons. Now, he missed time because of injuries.
Right.
The Cardinals
That's not on the Cardinals.
They cannot control that. Okay? Nolan Gorman, I think the runway's been pretty long, too. I think that before they sent him down, like, they almost had to because he wasn't doing anything.
Yeah.
So I look at the Cardinals as being a bit of a bipolar franchise right now, and I'll explain that. And no offense to anybody out there, trust me. Just they're pushing and pulling at the same time. How about that? Because they let certain guys go so long that they depreciate in value completely, a la Dylan Carlson, maybe Nolan Gorman right now, and then they don't know what to do with them. Then other guys, they don't give any opportunity to. So they literally have two different philosophies going at the exact same time with young players.
Yeah.
We're going to play the crap out of this guy. Just let him go. Let him eat. We don't care about it. Just let him play. And then the other one, no, back to the minors because we can't let him do that.
Or you don't even have to send him back to the minors. This is where my frustration is. You don't let him bat against lefties. You don't do this. They can't hit on Tuesdays because the statistics say on Tuesdays when he eats Cheerios in the morning, he doesn't have a great OPS.
Totally agree.
It's not just about how many games or how many at-bats a player gets. Do you give them the runway? Or half the time are they spent worrying that if they strike out, they're not going to be in the lineup the next day? That's where I'm at. If you just view the games and you just view the at-bats, yes, you can make a case that these guys hey, you had your opportunities. They didn't do anything with it. All right, fair. But not all opportunities are created equal.
But you can also see when the well runs dry. Like the well ran dry for Dylan Carlson here. For Tyler O'Neill, that well run dry. Now,
yes.
Tyler O'Neill's at 27 home runs this year, I think, or something like that.
Not surprising. Three trips to the IL.
Yep.
Not surprising either.
So I just think that it's an organization that truly doesn't have a philosophy of how they're going to handle their young guys.
Right.
And so therefore you get some guys that get just the sponge is wrung out to where it's dry, and other guys, they don't ever leave a chance to do anything.
Yeah.
This team, they look at the championships that they've won, at least in this century. Those teams weren't filled with a bunch of young dudes. They had guys, like Hall of Fame type players, guys that are in the Hall of Fame or will be in the Hall of Fame in those lineups. This team really hasn't gone through a stretch, at least under this ownership, with like young players and trying to develop them for a long stretch of time. We keep referring back to the Russian coach. They clearly don't know what they're doing because they've never been in this situation before. And honestly, it's just frustrating. I think they've put them – they have made their expectations so high for their team, and the fans now have those expectations that they have to be a playoff team every year.
Right.
And I hope that they are a playoff team every year. That's great for fans. But at some point, you have to look at it and be like, hey, this is not a playoff-type roster. We have to let these guys – work themselves into being Major League Baseball players so we can then go back and have another 20-year run. Like, you have to take time and reset things to allow it to grow. And this team, this franchise, I don't know if they know how to do that. Right. And they're showing right now that they have zero clue how to do that.
Yeah, agreed. Somebody in the Snake Pit said, Paul DeJong got ample opportunities. Yeah, I agree. Do you think Paul DeJong's a different player now for the Royals than he is with the Cardinals? He's not. We tend to do this, too. We did this exact same thing with Randal Grichuk, by the way. Everybody started asking about Randal Grichuk. Why did Randal Grichuk have so much success in Toronto? One, he was playing in a better lineup. Two, his numbers were very similar to what he was in St. Louis. He just wasn't hitting fourth, and the expectations were he had to be the guy. He was the same player. Paul DeJong's not a different player today than he was 3 years ago here in St. Louis. It's just they know exactly what he is. He's going to hit home runs. He's going to strike out. If that sounds familiar to you, that's Nolan Gorman, who's now been down in the minors because he struck out a lot and he hit home runs. Sometimes you just have to say, this is all this guy is. Is it, from our roster construction standpoint, do we need this guy? If not, trade him before his value becomes Sean Armstrong. You know what I mean?
I think circling back to the whole Tommy Pham thing, them essentially getting rid of Tommy Pham and Sean Armstrong tells me that they don't believe that they're a playoff team or contend for the playoffs.
No.
Although they're trying to tell you that there's still a chance for them to make the playoffs. They're showing us that they don't believe in their own damn team.
Correct.
Like, if you think you're a playoff team, Tommy Pham is on your roster and in the lineup, or, he doesn't have to be in the lineup every single day. Mm-hmm. But that guy went to the World Series last year. He knows what playoff baseball looks like, and you're letting him go. That's you telling the fans and all of us that you're throwing in the towel.
So, Marshy, going back to what I said, the push and pull. They're pushing and pulling at the same time with the way they handle their players. Mm-hmm. Same here. They're telling us one thing, that we're still in contention and we're going to battle right to the very end. However, we're going to move on guys that we want to help go to a contender. Well, wait a minute.
Right.
Well, what are you telling us then?
Right.
How are you still battling for a playoff spot when you're moving other guys to give them an opportunity to play for a contender?
Yeah.
It makes no sense.
None at all.
All right, it's Fastlane on 101 ESPN. We have our NFL North Division preview, so we're previewing each division in the NFL leading up to next week as the season kicks off. Jamie's NFC North-ish. I mean, the Lions are in there, so we'll discuss them next on 101 ESPN. There's only a couple more days for you to head down to Herculaneum and check out the great offers that they have at Auto Centers Nissan. In fact, they have their summer heat wave sale that has the lowest prices of 2024 with over 700 vehicles on their lot in Herculaneum. Auto Centers Nissan knows that you're bound to find the perfect car that fits your lifestyle and your budget. In fact, my wife, Chris, and I, we purchased a pre-owned Pathfinder that we love from Auto Centers Nissan. The process was easy and it was fun. We went online first. We know that with the 700 vehicles there, we're like, okay, we got to kind of look through these and figure out what we're really, honing in on. We selected, 4 or 5 vehicles. Took the test drives, and we fell in love with the Nissan Pathfinder, pre-owned vehicle that we love, and it's perfect for our family. You'll find what you're looking for there too. They've got rates. Some Nissans have rates as low as 0% APR, and for its terms as long as 84 months. They've got qualified buyers taking advantage of no money down, plus taking a break from a car payment for up to 3 months. They've got the 30-day new car return promise, complimentary lifetime warranty on new Nissans and used vehicles, complimentary 1-year maintenance on new Nissan purchases, and financing options for everyone. So first-time buyers or those with credit challenges can still get their vehicle from Auto Centers Nissan. So check them out online, autocentersnissan.com. When you do head down to Herculaneum, tell them Stalter sent you. It's Auto Centers Nissan.
101 ESPN Sports Center.
I'm Andrew Marsh. It's time for a Sports Center update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. The Cardinals looking to split with the San Diego Padres, and they are taking on the Padres right now at the end of the 7th inning. The Cardinals lead 3-1. We'll keep you updated on that score throughout the remainder of the show. Mizzou football kicks off their season tonight against Murray State with a 7 o'clock kickoff. We talked a little bit about Mizzou earlier in the show. If you missed that conversation or anything from today's show, make sure you go to 101ESPN.com, and you can check that out. Go to the podcast page. It's all brought to you by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. We have our AFC North preview, our final one heading into the NFL season. Next Thursday, Chiefs, Ravens. You can listen to that right here on 101 ESPN. This Sports Center update is brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, an independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
Time to go around the NFL with a Fast Lane season preview of the NFC North.
All right, as we move through the NFL divisions, we've reached the NFC North, where the Detroit Lions are expected to at least, build upon last year. I mean, they made it to the NFC Championship game, so if you build upon it, you're a Super Bowl contender, which I do think the Lions are.
I think they're in that window right now.
I agree. So is Detroit primed to run it back this season, or will they take a dip?
What was the record last year?
Let's pull that up here. I think they won 11 games?
I think it was 11 games, too.
And obviously won the division.
Yeah, they were 12-5. 12-5 last year. I say they're right in and around the same. I don't see anybody challenging them for the division. I know a lot of people like the Packers, and they're talking about the Packers. I just see the Lions. The Lions, to me, are going to be the biggest threat to the 49ers in the NFC. I think it's going to be those two right back where they ended up.
In the NFC Championship game.
Yep.
Marsh, what do you think about Motown?
As he wears his Vikings hat.
Yep.
I mean, they proved last year that they got a lethal offense. I could totally see it happening. Maybe they don't win the division. I think the Packers are making progress and could push them for the NFC North. But Detroit, I mean, they proved that they can, at least this version of Detroit, let's put away literally all of the other seasons that they've ever had as a franchise.
They have to.
Last season, they proved that they're one of the best teams, not only in the NFC, but in the NFL.
Yep.
And so they were a couple quarters away from going to the Super Bowl. So I don't think that anything changes in Detroit. I think the one question I have is if their defense is going to be a Super Bowl type defense, which we've seen at times that it can be, and we've seen at times that it can't be. So I think that's the big question for me.
Yeah, so the Lions defensively, that I agree, that is where the question marks really start for me. They signed a bunch of veterans to piece things around Aiden Hutchinson and Brian Branch. You know, they signed Carlton Davis. They signed Marcus Davenport from Marsh's Vikings. They signed DJ Reader. They brought in Teron Armstead, the first-round pick out of Alabama. They brought in Robertson from Mizzou. They're like, we got an issue at corner. We're going to draft that spot, and we're going to be good. So now will everything come together? Otherwise, offensively, you're running it back with the same team. You got Jared Goff under contract now, so he got paid. Amon-Ra St. Brown got his deal. The running backs are good. The offensive line is outstanding. There is no reason to believe that this offensive line will take, or this offense will take a step back. It is a matter of when the Lions get into the playoffs, and they will get into the playoffs. Are there anybody that's is there any quarterbacks that are going to upset the apple cart against this Detroit defense? That, I think, is where the issue lies.
Well, they were exposed last year in the NFC Championship to where they couldn't lock it down.
Right.
Once the 49ers got rolling, they made some mistakes on offense, too. There were lots
fumbles
of things that happened, but the defense didn't come up with a stop when they needed it. Had the defense come up with a stop when they needed just one, the game would have ended in a different way.
Yeah. All right, so that's the lines, but we all agree, and I guess we'll do some predictions next week, but we all agree, I think, that the Lions are the team to beat in that division. So can Jordan Love continue to grow as a young quarterback and take over the NFC North? I find this to be fascinating because, one, I like Jordan Love going into last season. And the first 2 weeks, I'm like, here you go, this is what I was talking about. And then he had a big lull.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are like, you screwed up. The Packers shouldn't have moved on from Aaron Rodgers. But you watched a young man grow within Matt LaFleur's offense. Mm-hmm. Matt LaFleur did not have his offense under Rodgers. It was a form of his offense to suit Rodgers. I think you saw Matt LaFleur grow as a play caller last year. I think the offense works. Love worked very well with the young wide receivers that they have. All of a sudden, it's like, hey, the wide receivers that weren't good enough for Rodgers were just fine for Love. They made a weird move to move on from their running back who went to Minnesota. Aaron Jones, thank you. And brought in Josh Jacobs. Like, that was kind of a weird move. But look, Josh Jacobs led the league in rushing a couple of seasons ago, so it's not like you have that much of a tail off. And Green Bay's defense was incredibly young last year. So I think the arrow is pointing up for the Packers. I just don't think that they're going to overtake the Lions in the division. I just think it's going to be those two battling it out, and the Green Bay winds up being a wild card team.
Yeah, I completely agree with that, and which leads me now, and I don't know, Marsh, if you have anything to say about the Packers before we move on.
I hate them.
That's kind of what I figured. Now, the Vikings, like, what do we really expect from the Vikings? They're really weak at the quarterback.
The expectations are very low.
The quarterback position is really weak, but they do have Justin Jefferson. Mm-hmm. I'm just wondering, and I think their head coach is an excellent coach. Like, are we underestimating the Vikings at all, or are they going to be just like we think they're going to be? You know what I mean?
I think they're going to be competitive.
I do
what does
too.
That mean?
I think
Define competitive.
Like 7
I think
wins.
they're going to win 7 games.
Okay.
7 or 8.
So the same as they went 7-10 last year.
Yeah. So Sam Darnold, right? Like,
he's the key. Like, he's the key. Is he going to be a guy that essentially revitalizes his career under Kevin O'Connell, which I believe he could? Like, I think Kevin O'Connell's that good of a coach to put him in a spot to succeed, and I think ultimately that's what the role of a coach is supposed to do.
Right.
Is he going to do it? That's the big question, because he has guys around him. The defense is getting better. Mm-hmm. You know, Brian Flores is one of the better defensive coordinators in the league. So good that he had a head coaching gig at one point. So I think it ultimately does come down to Sam Darnold. I think Aaron Jones still has a little bit left in him.
Yeah. As long as he stays healthy.
Yeah.
I didn't understand the Packers moving on from him, because he's somebody that can impact both the passing game and the rushing game.
I think I'm in the camp, though, that if Sam Darnold does have a solid season and this team can win like 9 to 10 games, I don't think it will shock me based on Sam Darnold being in San Francisco last year and being with a good franchise.
Sure.
Knowing what a good franchise looks like, the tendencies of practice, just how to be a better quarterback. And now he's with a guy in Kevin O'Connell that I think he can continue to do that. So we'll see what happens. I don't know. I'm rooting for him. I hope they win.
I wonder, too, Sam Darnold last year in Kyle Shanahan's system, I think the reason why, one, it was a small sample size, but I think the reason why Sam Darnold had some success is that everything was on script for him. Like, he knew he had to get the ball out right now, or, his boot, cut the field in half, just make the throw. That's it. He's got a big arm, but his accuracy wanes because he tries to do too much, and he doesn't see the field well. That's where the ghost thing came from.
It's really hard with that square head.
He
doesn't fit great in the helmet.
Got 2 eyes, should be fine. But the whole seeing ghost thing, it's because the kid couldn't see the field. He couldn't anticipate rush. That part of it needs to grow. But I think with Kevin O'Connell being a master play caller, I think the Vikings will be competitive. All right, Bears. Do they live up to the hype?
Carey Davis's Bears?
Carey Davis's Bears. Do they live up to the hype?
I say the first few weeks, I think they do. I think they're going to come out very strong, where everyone's like, oh, here we got it's the Chicago Bears. We got a new team, Caleb Williams, Roma Dunze, you got DJ Moore, all these pieces. And then I think as the season progresses, they start to falter. They start to fall off, and they're like, there's our Chicago Bears that we know and hate.
Sure.
So I think it's going to be opposite to that.
Really?
I think there's going to be struggles right out of the gate because Caleb Williams, whatever reps he's had in training camp and in preseason, he's going to get a rude awakening of what NFL defenses are going to do to him and how quick these guys move and how good they are with anticipation. And like his world's going to be difficult. So I see them stumbling out of the gate. But then because he's such a great athlete and he is a great quarterback, he's going to get used to seeing things and video and doing all this stuff and going over. Preparation will get easier for him. I see them the second half of the season kind of playing really well to where I think they're a 7 or an 8 win team.
Yeah.
Overall. That's the way I look at it.
The kid's got some weapons. We'll see if the O-line holds up, but the kid's got some weapons. You know, you've got DJ Moore. They drafted Rome Odunze. Cole Kmet, I think, is an underrated tight end. And I don't think the defense is as bad as people think either. They acquired Montez Sweat last year, and he was excellent. I don't know if they have any other pass rushers outside of him, but I think the defense overall is pretty good. So I think they're interesting, but ultimately they fall short.
I just wonder what this season does for Matt Eberflus. I think he's my big question mark on this team because the players speak for themselves. You know, you have Rome Odunze as a dude.
Yeah.
He's a great wide receiver, and Caleb Williams has proven that he can be a great college football quarterback. We've seen a lot of great college football quarterbacks that have not panned out. Could he be the first Bear to throw for 4,000 yards? Maybe.
Doubtful, but maybe.
Who knows? But I think the coach is my big question mark for this team.
I think that's fair.
Legit.
Cardinals are up 4-1 now on the Padres. They've got runners at first and second at the bottom of the 8th with no outs, so they can add on here. And this is a situation or a scenario for the Cardinals that they often have fallen short on. You know, where they can blow a game open and they don't. So we'll see if they can continue to tack on and earn a series split with the Padres. It's the Fast Line on 101 at ESPN. Andrew Marsh, Jamie Rivers, Anthony Stalter. So earlier in the show, we talked about some comments made by Greg Amsinger on these airwaves earlier in the day. And he kind of called the Cardinals fans to task about not going to the games despite the fact that they're still right around 500. Well, Charlie Morrow posted something on Twitter the other night that plays into the Amsinger comments. And it plays into, quite frankly, in my opinion, the tone-deaf nature of the Amsinger comments. That's next on 101 ESPN. conversation earlier today about Greg Amsinger of MLB Network coming on and kind of calling the Cardinals fans to task about not showing up to the games, even though the Cardinals are right around 500. We won't rehash all the comments that we made. If you want to listen to that full conversation, the podcast will be up after the show. 101ESPN.com, your 101 ESPN mobile app. The podcast brought to you by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. So you can listen to the full, our full thoughts on that. But this is interesting. So, Marsh, you had found a tweet by Charlie Marlowe, media member here. Charlie's a great dude. And he said, I got, and this is on Twitter, I got a lot of great comments on YouTube from #ForTheLou fans. This one stood out, Charlie said. There's a difference between being a fan and a customer. I'll be a fan for life, but I don't see this organization getting my money for a long time. I think that this comment is damn near perfect. I think this right here underscores how Cardinals fans feel. Now, we got a guy in the snake pit, if he's still around, Brandon. Brandon is a loyal Cardinals fan. And I think I know that Brandon gets upset with us when he feels as though, perceived or otherwise, that we're too harsh on the team. We're too negative. And he stands there in his Cardinals red, and he says, I'm a fan no matter what. Great, fantastic. I got no issue with that at all. I think that's fantastic. Great, excellent. But Brandon, and others that think this way, there's a difference between being a fan and being a consumer. If you're a fan, yeah, you'll always be a fan. Unless it's a situation like the Rams or whatever. But if you're a Cardinals fan, you're going to be a Cardinals fan forever. We don't have to take away your Cardinal card because you don't go to the game or because you're frustrated.
And we're Cardinals fans, too.
Yes.
And we've been very critical, but I still turn on the TV and I watch, and when, even last night with the walk-off, I get excited. Not because, I don't sit there and go, well, they still sing. They still sting.
Yeah.
Look, I understand where they're at, but that was a great play. I'm happy for Nolan Arenado. I'm happy for the team. You can still be a fan, but not be a consumer.
A consumer.
Like you said.
Exactly. You're a consumer in everyday life. You consume what gas station you go to fill up the tank. You consume what grocery store you want to go to. Sometimes it's convenience. Sometimes you just like the store you're brand loyal, and other times it's a price thing or a combination of it.
Yep.
Doesn't mean you're not a fan of something. You'd be a fan of the most expensive car in the world. That's awesome. As a consumer, it doesn't mean you're going to buy it. Right. And right now, Cardinals fans are not. Cardinals consumers are not buying it. And I think that's where kind of the disconnect is. I thought this tweet was phenomenal. And this was from a couple days ago. We didn't even get to it. But I think it paired up perfectly with Amsinger and what he said. And the disconnect, perhaps, between what Greg said and where Cardinals fans / consumers are.
Yeah, I think of Jamie, and Jamie, you are a businessman. You have Synergy Hockey. If you were to run a camp and
Clear camp?
No, not the Clear camp.
No, clearly that one, yeah. Nobody's buying that. Sorry, Anthony. As you were, Andrew.
But if you were to just kind of mail it in on some of the the drills you were doing, obviously you played in the NHL. People are, and you've established Synergy Hockey skills for a long time. People could be drawn to the brand, but if the product isn't the same as it once was, they might go somewhere else. And so I think that there could be a sense of entitlement from this front office, from the ownership group, Bill DeWitt III in his interview kind of said, no, the fans will come.
Mm-hmm.
So
I don't know, they're not.
No.
What you're talking about is basically complacency in the business world.
Yeah.
And it's funny that you bring up Synergy Hockey because every year, every summer, before we hit the grind of 11 straight weeks of camps and multiple locations and, somewhere around 1,000 kids going to come through the program. I have a meeting with all of my coaches, and we go through the pillars of what it is to be a Synergy Hockey coach. We're not just puck pushers. Sometimes I even get some kids, college kids, come back. They're good hockey players. They get out there, think, I just got to push some pucks around, have some fun with the kids. Nope, wrong. That's the first day I'm going to be grabbing. That's not how we do it here.
Yeah.
After every rep, there should be a compliment or something to help the kid. Compliment or coaching. Compliment or coaching. So
that is coaching.
It is. It's what it is. Teaching. And so if we don't continue to remind your own organization of what your pillars are, then it gets to be complacency.
Yes.
And so then the fans see that the organization's complacent, and they spend their money elsewhere.
Right.
Same with Synergy Hockey. If someone says, well, I was out there, I watched all of Rivers' coaches, and nobody talking to the kids.
They're on their phone.
They're screwing around. They're shooting pucks during the middle of the drill. The kids aren't learning. Their kids are fighting in the corner.
Yeah.
That's the last time I'm doing that crap.
Right.
And you'll check out the next one until you find something that you like. Well, that's what Cardinals fans are doing right now.
Yep.
They're like, Cardinals they're not in the playoffs. They're not making big moves. They're not playing the young kids. They're not developing this. They're trading away all the best pieces. I'm not going.
Yeah, it's tired right now.
Yeah.
It's complacent. You're right. To really beat a dead horse here, so Killian is now in soccer. He is going to start his season this upcoming month. Those know I don't know soccer that well. Even when I've attempted to watch it, I don't quite fully understand.
As an Italian, Anthony, you should be pretty invested in soccer. I have a lot of Italian friends, and they all love soccer, and they played growing up, and they get hyped up.
Well, I got confused.
Okay.
I told you about the Orange Reading Group, right?
And meat comes first.
That's right, the Italians. When somebody said you're Italian, you really need to know football. I got confused. I went with the American football, not with football. So I guess confused as a lad.
Lost in translation.
Anyways.
So you know what I did? So Killian's going to get into soccer. Killian's my 6-year-old son. So he needed a soccer ball, needed cleats, and I'm like, you know what? Even though soccer's not my game, my sport, I'm gonna get fired up for him. Let's go, buddy. So I looked at him last week and I said, hey, you got practice coming up. We're gonna find you a new soccer ball. We're gonna get you new soccer cleats. Here we go. And I knew that there was I won't mention the name of it. All right. I won't bury anybody. Yep, the store. It's an all soccer store. I've passed it a lot. I was going to go to one of the big box stores, but I'm like, you know what? I'm going to take them to this soccer store where they've got tons of things, and everybody's going to be, it's all soccer. So we go in, a couple people, one guy behind the desk, a couple of guys in the little store, not a huge store. I say, hey, guys, my son is getting into soccer first year. He's excited about it. Not really, not my sport, so I can't really help him with stuff. This is what we need. We need shin guards. We need a ball. We need cleats. And the guy looked at me. He goes, yeah, the balls you need are over there, and the cleats are over there. And he pointed to the two walls. I go, okay, all right. Maybe you can show him. Maybe there's different. Yeah, maybe there's some differences.
How about you move?
I know what a soccer ball looks like. Yeah.
But there's different sizes. So how old is he?
Exactly.
He uses a soccer ball this big.
Sell me on the experience, man. Yeah, give me something.
Yeah.
No. Said it again. Yeah. I'm like, is there differences? I'm just trying to get Killian's fired up about it. The guy was like, no. And he kind of looked at me like that. I go, okay, Anthony's going to come out at some point. I just don't know when. So we went around. Killian looked at some of the balls, looked at the cleats. One of the cleats was $275.
Yeah, you don't need
Couldn't help myself. No, I know. But I couldn't help myself. So I picked up the cleat. I said, hey, this is $275. He goes, yeah. I go, now does the ball go into the net as soon as it hits this shoe for $275? Made a big scene, about 5-6 minutes or so until poor Killian got a little embarrassed. I go, hey, you know what? This is not our store. And I went to the big box store anyways. Mm-hmm. You can sell people on an experience. You can sell people on your product.
Well, and you can educate people.
You can educate. But when complacency sets in and you're just like, here you go, it's a store. Go for it.
We've got everything you need.
Yep.
Do it yourself.
Here you go. Here's your team. Here's your Cardinals team. I know you're going to show up. You need us. No, we don't. We'll spend the money elsewhere. All right, we have the Gauntlet coming up next on 101 ESPN.
warriors. 4 categories, 1 challenger. Can you survive the Gauntlet?
Your time check is brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. Andrew Marsh, Jamie Rivers. I'm Anthony Stalter, and Trevor is with us. What's up, Trevor?
Hey, how y'all doing?
Doing great. How about you,
man?
I'm about to get off work, so I'm theoretically off the clock right now.
Nice. We'll take it.
That's a good thing. Absolutely. First
Right
time.
on.
Is this your first time in the Gauntlet?
I did it about 3 years ago.
Okay. How'd you fare?
I got to day 4.
Oh, Trevor.
Snap.
Oh, he's throwing out the intimidation right away.
Who'd you beat?
Okay, so this was back about 3 years, almost exactly 3 years ago when I was working at Norwood Hills Country Club. And let's see, I think it was BT.
BT gotcha?
Yep.
Okay. No, he's gone, so you don't have to worry about him.
Yeah, we got rid of him.
Carey's also gone though. So, would you like Andrew Marsh, Jamie Rivers, or me? Who'd you like to take on?
I'll take you.
Okay. All right. Well, Trevor, hope you like hockey. Good luck to you.
I know, that's what I was about to say.
Yep. Good luck to you, and yeah, see you in a sec.
Likewise.
Thank you.
All right, Anthony's going to make his way into the cone of silence. While he does that, Trevor, can you tell my guy Marshy to spin that wheel?
Hey, Marshy, spin that thing.
All right, so what would be your ideal category?
It's probably going to be random.
I'm not even kidding, Trevor. You picked Anthony, so what do you think you got?
It's hockey.
It is hockey. Like, not even
All
like right smack dab in the middle of hockey.
That is hilarious.
The wheel hears everything. I'm telling you, it's getting kind of creepy. All right, we got 4 questions. As you know, each question's worth 2 points. If you use the options and answer it correctly, it's worth 1 point. If you get it wrong, you get 0 points. If you're tied after 4 questions, we will have a tiebreaker question, and we will get a winner here in the Gauntlet today. Trevor,
All
ready
right.
to go?
Indeed. Bring it on.
Here we go. New Blue, Philip Broberg was drafted by Edmonton with the 8th pick in 2019. Who was selected first overall that year?
Oh, my goodness. And what year was that?
2019.
I'm going to need options.
Okay. Was it Jack Hughes, Brady Tkachuk, or Cale Makar?
Hughes. Final answer.
Question number 2. Name the only skater to register 4 goals during June's Stanley Cup final between the Panthers and the Oilers.
Oh. I'll take the options again, darn it.
Options are Carter Verhaeghe, Evan Rodriguez, or Connor McDavid.
Oh, I was thinking him. I'll go Connor McDavid. Final answer.
Okay. Question 3, Trev. What goaltender has suffered more regular season losses than anyone in NHL history?
A current player?
Nope. Just what goaltender has suffered the most regular season losses than anyone in NHL history?
Oh, man. I hate to take the options. I'll take the options again, darn it.
All right. Is it John Van Beesbrook, Terry Sawchuk, or Martin Brodeur?
I'll say Brodeur. Final answer.
Final question for you. For how many teams has Marc-Andre Fleury played over his 20-year NHL career? How many teams?
All right, so it's going to be like 4 or 5 or 6. I'm going to say 5. Final answer.
All right. Let's
have
get
no
our
idea,
boy
though.
Anthony back in here. How you feeling, Trev?
Not too great.
No, okay. Anthony's back in here. He's plugging the ears back in. Anthony, how's Cone of Silence today?
It was good. Rod and I are just chatting about Business.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's solid.
And you want to share with us, or?
Oh, no, you'll find out.
Okay.
It's a sunny, great thing.
Oh,
You'll find out.
I'll find out I'll know it when I see it.
You'll know when you see it.
Okay,
Yep.
good.
You have your ball?
Yeah, it's right here. Yep.
Yeah, you do.
You got it?
Yep. Thanks.
All right, Anthony. Hope you packed a lunch.
Yeah, right.
Your category today is hockey.
Okay.
Not even kidding. Question 1.
Uh-huh.
New Blue. Philip Broberg was drafted by Edmonton with the 8th pick in the 2019 NHL draft.
Mm-hmm.
Who was selected first overall that year?
First overall in 2019?
Yes.
Oh, man. Let's see here. Trying to think. 2019. For time purposes, let's go options, please.
Was it Jack Hughes, Brady Tkachuk, or Cale Makar?
Jack Hughes, Brady Tkachuk, or Cale Makar? I think that was Cale Makar, assuming he was a first overall pick. Or was it Jack Hughes? I feel like Jack Hughes has been around long. I'll go Jack Hughes. Final answer.
Question number 2. Name the only skater to register 4 goals during June's Stanley Cup final between the Panthers and the Oilers.
4 skaters what?
Name the only skater to register 4 goals during the Stanley Cup final.
Oh, who had 4 goals? I have a name in mind, but I want to make sure he's an option. Can you please give me the options?
Options are Carter Verhaeghe, Evan Rodriguez, or Connor McDavid.
Yeah, it was Carter Verhaeghe. Final answer.
Question 3. What goaltender has suffered more regular season losses than anyone in NHL history?
You would think that this goaltender would stink, but not the case. It also meant that he played a lot. Can I have the options, please?
Was it John Van Beesbrook, Terry Sawchuk, or Martin Brodeur?
I'm going to go Martin Brodeur. Final answer.
Question number 4. For how many teams has Marc-Andre Fleury played over his 20-year NHL career? How many teams has he played for?
Marc-Andre Fleury?
Marc-Andre Fleury.
The Flower.
These are always tricky, right? You always forget one. Well, you had the Penguins. You had. I want to say. I'm not even going to take the options here. 5 is the number that keeps sticking out. I'm going to say 5. 5, final answer. I don't think options would have done anything for me.
All right, let's go over this. Let's start with question 3. What goaltender has suffered more regular season losses than anyone in NHL history? Trevor, you said Martin Brodeur. Anthony, you also said Blues legend Martin Brodeur. Answer is...
It is Martin Brodeur.
But Trevor and Anthony needed the options.
Oh, sweet Mary and Joseph. Nice job, Trevor.
All right,
Thank you. Likewise.
let's go to question 2. Name the only skater to register 4 goals during June's Stanley Cup final between the Panthers and the Oilers. Trevor, you said Connor McDavid. Anthony, you said Carter Verhaeghe. Answer is...
Well, Carter Verhaeghe had a massive goal in the Stanley Cup final. However, he did not have 4 goals. Evan Rodriguez did.
Oh,
Evan
wow.
Rodriguez, yes.
Maybe I was thinking of the massive gold, Marsh. Okay.
1-1 after 2. Let's go to question 4. How many teams has Marc-Andre Fleury played for over his 20-year NHL career? Trevor, you said 5 without the options. Anthony, you also said 5 without the options.
Oh, wow.
The answer is
5 was not an option. It's 4.
Oh, darn it.
the Penguins, the Golden Knights, the Wild, and let's not forget the illustrious time he had with the Chicago Blackhawks.
Yeah.
Darn it.
All right, 1-1 heading into the final question. New Blue Philip Broberg was drafted by Edmonton with the 8th pick in the 2019 NHL Draft, who was selected first overall that year. Trevor, you said Jack Hughes. Anthony, you had Cale Makar. Okay, wait. Jack Hughes, wait.
Yeah.
You end up going with Jack Hughes.
I think I'm right, Jamie, but did he not need those options?
The answer is,
It is Jack Hughes.
but both of you needed the options.
Oh,
Walk
What
it
a
off.
barn burner.
We got a walk-off.
all right.
All right,
Oh, my
so
God.
Trevor, here's how this works. We're going to ask the question to Anthony, which obviously you will hear at the same time. Do not answer anything until Anthony writes his answer down and we clear it to bring it over
I
to
like
you.
what you did there, Jamie.
But then when it comes to you, we need an answer quickly because the Snake Pit and the text line, boy, they like to call out cheaters. Okay, and I know you're not a cheater, Trevor.
No.
Exactly. So, man, it's closest to the pin for the answer.
right.
These are always fun.
This is always something. I can only imagine what Anthony's going to write. Okay.
3,000 and something.
Yeah, it's
It's
in
that or
play.
69. That's it. There's the only two options.
There it is.
We would love that.
Wouldn't you?
Well, let's just read the question.
Jordan Kyrou led last season's Blues squad in goals scored. How many times did Jordan Kyrou light the lamp last year? Anthony's writing. Okay, we have the answer. Trevor, your answer, please.
He led the Blues, right?
Correct?
35.
All right. Anthony, what did you write down?
34.
34.
My football number.
35 for Trevor, 34 for Anthony. It's been a tight one. It's been a great one here. Trevor.
You have chosen poorly.
The answer, 31.
Oh, Trevor.
Dude, I almost said 33.
Honestly, I was waiting. When you said 30, I was waiting for you to say 34 because you and I have been in lockstep with these answers today.
Good work, Anthony.
Thanks,
Gosh,
Trevor.
darn it.
Man,
Good
that was
job,
a tight
Trevor.
one. Nice job, Trevor. Thanks for playing.
Have a
Thanks
good
for
one,
listening.
guys.
Go
You
enjoy
too.
the
Good
rest
job,
of your
Trevor.
day, man.
Yeah, enjoy your day. Absolutely.
All right, right on.
Wow.
Another hockey victory.
Another hockey win. And this time I wasn't way over.
Tony.
Yeah.
13 wins on the year.
In hockey.
13-3 now.
Overall in hockey or just
Good year.
overall?
That's a playoff team right there.
That's a
No,
division winner.
13-3 in hockey.
In hockey.
That's unreal.
32-10 overall.
That's still a great record.
I
Look
almost.
at you go, you crayon-eating son of a gun.
Thank you. Yeah. I wish I had the Jack Hughes off the top of my head because in 2019, leading up like when the Blues had a rough first half, it was lose for Hughes.
Yes.
I should have known that off the top of my head.
Well, what's
Lose for
funny
Hughes.
is that the other options weren't first overall picks.
Well, that's why when I was going over, I knew Tkachuk wasn't. But I'm like, Cale Makar, that doesn't. Was
Yeah.
he like 9th overall or 8th
No, I think
overall?
it was
Something like that?
fourth, yeah.
overall.
Fourth.
I'm like,
I think somewhere in there.
I don't think he's. That's why ultimately I said Hughes. I'm like, I don't think Makar was a first overall pick.
And he was drafted, I don't know the year, but his first year, I believe, was the year that the Blues won the Stanley Cup, and he came in and played in the playoffs.
Gotcha.
That's when he made his debut in the playoffs for the Colorado Avalanche.
I just feel like Jack Hughes has been around way longer than he has. I don't know why. I just feel like the kid has been in the NHL for 10 years now.
Well, there's 3 of them in the NHL now.
Yeah.
3 Hughes brothers.
3 Hughes brothers.
Yeah.
Yeah, Quinn Hughes.
Not the pitcher for the Cardinals.
No, it's Quinn Matthews, Quinn Hughes, Jack Hughes, and
Luke.
Luke Hughes.
I think I could be completely wrong here. I think Quinn Hughes was the first one.
He was.
That's probably why you're thinking of the last name.
Oh,
because his brother had so much hype around him for the USA team and whatnot. So
yeah, good call. All right, Cardinals get it done today. 4-1 winners over the Padres. We'll discuss today's game and discuss why the Cardinals, your Cardinals, they might be back in. Now we'll just talk about the game. That's next on 101 ESPN. ESPN, Andrew Marsh, Jamie Rivers, our guy, Carey Davis, Super Bowl champion. Checking out some Illinois football tonight. He's actually part of the broadcast crew. So the Cardinals earned a series split. Now, Marsh, I don't view this as, and Jamie will be back in a second. Marsh, I don't view this as a win in any way, shape, or form. You came into this series. The Padres are directly in front of you. You needed to win the series. A sweep would have been phenomenal. Taking 3 of 4 would have been terrific. Mm-hmm. A series split, not what anybody wanted when you open up the series. But when you drop the first 2 games and all you can do, at best, is take the series split, well, then do so. And they did it last night with the walk-off with Nolan Arenado. And then they finally got today an ace-like performance out of Sonny Gray. Mm-hmm. He went 6 innings. He scattered 3 hits. He allowed 1 earned run. And unfortunately for him, because he has been struggling with home runs, it was a long ball. But it was a solo shot off of Jackson Merrill. His bat in the top of the 5th. That's it. That's the only runs he had. Here's another stat, too, or not another stat, but another figure here that was key with Sonny Gray. 0 walks. 4 Ks. So the Ks are actually down compared to where he was before. But he only gave up the 1 run, that being the home run, and he didn't walk anybody. Sonny Gray didn't hurt himself today. He gave you an ace-like performance, and then the bullpen came in and did its job, too. So really good win. Again, you can't celebrate a series split when you're trailing as much as you are, but they did the best they could after losing the first 2.
Yeah, and we haven't talked about it at all today because the current game was going on and whatnot. But let's go back to last night and the pitching performance by Andre Palante as well.
Yeah.
Because I was sitting there watching that going, and I was interested because the first couple of innings didn't go great for him. He was all over the place.
Yeah.
They scored some runs early. You could see him talking to himself, and I was like, oh, boy, is it going to be one of those nights? But he reeled it in, found his groove, and kept them at 2 runs. Mm-hmm. Had the ball off at 5 2/3, I believe is what it was. He did his job effectively, and he continues to do that.
Yep. So
to hand the ball off today to Sonny Gray, and Sonny Gray goes out there and does what he does best, it gives you a chance to win. And 2 nights in a row now, the Cardinals have hit with runners in scoring position.
Yeah.
They've gotten the knocks. They've gotten the little squibblers, just make contact, just put the ball in play. They've done that, and they've reaped the benefits of putting more guys across home plate. Mm-hmm. So it's amazing how that works. You get good pitching, hit with runners in scoring position, you usually give yourself a pretty good chance to win the game.
And honestly, I mean, look, I hate to nitpick, but they still weren't good with their opportunities that they had. I mean, they had...
Anthony, we're going to focus on the good things.
I know, but can I just...
Yeah, you can, of course.
You left 11 on.
Today or last night?
Today.
Yeah.
You left 11 on base.
But 2 weeks ago, it would have been 17.
You're right. You're right. 2 for 14 with runners in scoring position, by the way. 0 for 2 for Arenado, 0 for 2 for Donovan, 1 for 1 for Goldschmidt, 0 for 1 for Baker, although he did get the RBI, and then 0 for 2 for Wynn and Burleson and Newt. Herrera's 1 for 2.
This is one thing I was thinking about last night, and you brought this up yesterday with Jordan Walker, and we were having the conversation. We'll just throw Jordan Walker whenever he does end up coming up to the big leagues again. Let's bat him 4th, right? Do you find it interesting that Luken Baker is now batting, like he's had an opportunity to bat early in the lineup? Obviously, yesterday he ends up hitting a double, scored a few, a part of that 1 inning that the team really took off offensively. Other than that, he's been fine.
Yeah.
But do you still believe that those young players should be in those roles, or is it completely different because Jordan Walker is, one of the top prospects for you, while Luken Baker's kind of just another guy in your organization that can hit the ball?
Yeah, for me, I would probably put Baker down further in the lineup. Mm-hmm. To me, why wouldn't you use Baker like you should use Nolan Gorman when he's rolling? Mm-hmm. It's somebody with pop. So I get it. Well, the cleanup hitter should have pop. It's Luken Baker. It's not. We're not talking about prime Nolan Arenado.
No,
I would move him down and let him just do his thing. let him run into one. I don't think it's a huge deal right now when you're a 500 team.
Yeah.
But for me, like Randall Gritchick, going back to that conversation, hey, he's our cleanup hitter. Dude, he ain't a cleanup hitter.
Right.
He's probably a 6-hole hitter. 2 at best. Back in the day. Like this, we're talking about 10 years ago when the 2-hole hitter was not what it is now. When he got to Toronto, you know where he hit? 2-6. So I think it's having an understanding, Marsh, to your point, of where what does he profile best as?
Yeah, but so right now, though, Anthony, is I was tired of seeing players without pop in the cleanup spot.
Sure.
Right.
And so I'm absolutely fine with Luke and Baker, and he's done an adequate job. He really has. He's gotten a few RBIs. He looks comfortable up there at the plate.
Yeah.
And he has the ability to run into one. Whereas Brendan Donovan was in there a few times. Lars Nootbaar, I know Newt has both of those guys have they could run into one, but they're not like
15,
Luke and Baker.
They're 15 to 20 guys.
Yeah, Luke and Baker that's what he does. He hits home runs, and he made great contact last night. Got that long ass double that I thought was going to get out of the park.
Yeah.
He's had a couple of good sac flies. He's got single today. He's producing in that spot, so I'm okay with him there. And in fact, I'm okay with just leave him there. Don't take him out of the lineup. Don't screw around. Leave him as your DH for the foreseeable week or two. Let him get comfortable.
Well, that's where you and I are aligned here. I think, again, going back to my whole thing on opportunities, leave him alone. He's going to hit in and out of slumps. That's just part of baseball.
And there's going to be some pitchers he goes against where he has not seen that. He's been in AAA for how many years? He hasn't seen what some of these guys have. And when he sees it for the first time, he's like, "Oh boy, that's new."
Right.
But then give him another chance. So not just a pinch hitter. He gets to go the next time through. He has another opportunity.
Yeah.
And today he walked twice. I think some pitchers are seeing his profile as a player. Huge guy. Has a presence at the plate. I don't want to pitch to that guy, but who's hitting behind him? You have Brendan Donovan today. He doesn't have pop. That's why we talk about the lineups and stuff. I feel like sometimes we overlook just how a lineup is supposed to be constructed. Maybe we don't overlook it. I think the Cardinals overlook it. Okay, Brendan Donovan's your cleanup hitter. Is anyone scared of Brendan Donovan for hitting a home run? I'm not scared of him, so I'm not going to pitch around Nolan Arenado.
Right.
Yeah, or I could pitch around him because I'm not going to go at him. I could just pitch around him because the guy behind him isn't going to really do much damage putting crooked numbers up.
Sure. Yeah, it's all about lineup construction. How do you want to construct your lineup? And the Cardinals, because of guys like Arenado and specifically Goldschmidt underperforming, I think that has had kind of this domino effect on everything. All right. Why don't we do our part one of our Sports Six Pack? So if you have a question, send it into the Air Comfort Service text line 314-399-9646. Part one of the Sports Six Pack is next.
101 ESPN Sports Center.
I'm Andrew Marsh. It's time for a Sports Center update driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. The Cardinals split with the Padres after winning earlier today by a final score of 4-1. We just got done talking about the Cardinals, and we've continued to talk about them all day long. If you've missed any of our conversations from today, make sure you go to 101ESPN.com or check out the free 101 mobile app. Just head to the podcast page. You'll find all of our full shows there, and it's all brought to you by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. The Cardinals will take on the Yankees tomorrow with a 6:05 first pitch. Tonight, Mizzou takes on Murray State as they kick off the football season. 7 o'clock kickoff. And we talked about Mizzou earlier today. And if you missed any of that, again, go to 101ESPN.com. We have our Sports Six-Pack coming up next. So if you have a question you want to send our way, do so using the Air Comfort Service text line 314-399-9646. Sports Six-Pack coming up next. I'm Andrew Marsh, and the Sports Center update is driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. See them at londoff.com. Chevy, together we drive. Are you kidding me?
It's time for the Fast Lane to answer your sports questions.
I want to ask you a bunch of questions, and I want to have them answered immediately.
Asking me all these weird questions.
Answer the question.
Answer the question.
Answer me!
The Sports Six-Pack is now.
With Jamie Rivers, I'm Anthony Stalter. Andrew Marsh has your questions via the Air Comfort Service text line at 314-399-9646.
Question number one.
I found this to be interesting from Thanks Dad. Do other shows around the country ever use sound clips from this show, and do they have to ask?
Wow, that's a really interesting question. I don't think that people have used our stuff.
We don't know.
We don't know.
Because they don't have to ask.
No. You're supposed to credit. You're just supposed to credit. Like when we have audio from Bally Sportsman West, that audio is Bally Sportsman West, or at the very least, like, you know, that's the Padres TV broadcast or something. Like you should properly credit things. Yeah. Doesn't mean everybody does, but I don't think I've ever seen. You know, this is Anthony Stalter, Jamie Rivers, and
I don't know, but they could have clipped something we said.
Sure.
Who knows?
Yeah.
We would never know unless we saw it online or somebody said something. And if they're using it in, let's say, Minnesota, because the Twins are playing the Cardinals and we said something about the Cardinals, we'll never know.
Yeah, that's true. And we've done that before, too, where we've played audio from Toronto or whatever. But yeah, you just got to properly credit it. That's all. Credit where the audio came from, and then that's it.
Question number two.
From 314, what is the appropriate response to someone hitting you, to someone behind you hitting a ball up on you when golfing? So you're sitting there, or not sitting there, you're standing there trying to hit, and then all of a sudden a ball comes flying right next to your face. That's actually happened to me before.
It's happened to me too. So first thing I do is I wait around long enough until they can finally see that there's somebody further up in the fairway. And then I wait for them to acknowledge, like, hey, man, sorry, just a wave, even like a wave of the club, whatever. If I get none of that, I take the ball and I hit it as far as I can somewhere else. And then when they roll up and say, what, like, did you guys see a ball? Yeah, I saw a ball, and you saw me standing in the fairway.
What's the deal?
And you didn't give the wave. So I shot your ball 300 yards that way.
You can find it 3 holes over.
Yeah, I'm like I understand this stuff happens because there's blind spots on the course, so it's an elevated fairway. Sometimes you just can't see a dog leg to the right.
Yeah. Somebody
hammers one over. Like, it happens. But your proper courtesy is like, hey, man, sorry, man, that won't happen again. Like,
yeah.
I've done it. I have done it to other people, too. And I take the golf cart, and I roll right up to them. Pass the ball, everything. I'm like, guys, hey, man, sorry about that. Didn't see you. Right. I'll make sure you take a better look next time.
Yeah.
Hope you guys are having a great round.
That's all it takes. Absolutely. You know? I'm the same way, man. People make mistakes. I feel the same way, like, when you're driving. We've all made mistakes when we're driving. You know, you cut somebody off, you didn't see them, blind spot. Maybe it wasn't a blind spot. You just, you got lost in your own thoughts and you accidentally cut somebody off. As long as somebody just gives me the hey, my bad on that, because I always do, we're good. If not, that's when things can get nasty, and not fast lane nasty, Jamie.
No, I agree. Marshy, what are your thoughts? I see you like the hamsters in its wheel over there.
So this happened to me like last year. Me and some buddies were golfing, and we were on the green, and this was a par 4 too. And as we're like putting, ball just boop right next to us.
You're a little fun.
And we and I'm like, I'm in the middle of about to putt, and I look back and just nothing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but we got caught up. We got caught up, and we didn't. We were thinking about it. We were thinking about doing the Jamie Rivers and just chucking his ball into the woods.
Yeah, he would have earned that.
Oh, for sure. But we got stuck at the next hole. We're kind of backed up and whatnot. So they come driving by, and the guy was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know my own strength." I'm like, you Arizona Diamondback. It's not like there was a blind spot. Like, this is wide open. Like, it was one of those holes where no dog leg left or anything. Like, you could see straight away.
Yeah.
We're on the green, and you don't know your own strength.
You can also tell when somebody's being genuine, too. Like, if they roll up and like, I am really sorry, man. I got a hold of that one.
I didn't think I could hit it this far.
You should normally.
There was a little bit of a mixture of that, like, oh, I'm sorry, but kind of like, are you?
Yeah.
Like,
well,
are you
if
really?
you have the question,
I'm sorry that I'm so strong. Like,
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, okay, dude.
I'm sorry. I used to be much stronger.
This is my strong hand. Whatever. I don't know.
To me, that the proper etiquette is to go out of your way to, either make sure they can see you wave sorry or get the golf club up in the air.
Yeah,
You can't
it's no
miss
big
that.
deal.
And if they can't see you, you roll up with the golf cart, take an extra minute and a half, go say you're sorry.
Exactly. All right, let's stop it there. We'll finish our sports six-pack next on 101 ESPN.
It's time for the Fast Lane to answer your sports questions.
I want to ask you a bunch of questions, and I want to have them answered immediately.
Asking me all these weird questions.
Answer the question.
Answer the question.
Answer me!
The Sports Six-Pack is now.
All right, the Sports Six-Pack continues here in the Fast Lane on 101 to ESPN. Jamie Rivers, Anthony Stalter, here's Andrew Marsh.
Question number 3.
From the 908, is it more likely the Blues make the NHL playoffs or Mizzou makes the college football playoffs?
Oh, that is a good one. The kids would say that's spicy, right, Marshy? No?
No?
Okay.
That's not the thing?
I don't know what kids you're hearing this from.
Mine.
I guess I'm not a kid anymore. I mean, I am 28, so.
Wait till it happens.
Wow.
Maybe
Now
I'm out of it.
You're part of the uncool crowd now.
I guess so.
Marsh, I'm telling you.
I'm starting to feel
There's gonna be one day. It's happened with Brandon Kiley. Say, hey, what's the Super Bowl? What's like the Super Bowl what's the first Super Bowl you remember?
Oh, yeah.
And he said, he goes, the 98 Falcons Broncos. I go, come again? No, I said, not one you remember and you're digging at me, but the first Super Bowl you remember. He goes, that's it. Mm-hmm. Son of a bitch.
Yeah.
I was
a
junior in high school. Like that one stung.
There's
realized in that moment I was old.
A few things that sting.
Well.
Yeah. Yeah.
From this regard, though.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Getting older.
Yeah. So, all right. What was the question?
Blues or Mizzou
Anyway,
playoffs.
somebody's going to do that for you someday, Marsh.
Well, my nephew did that a year or two ago when I mentioned a song, and he was like, "You listened to this when you were in middle school or high school?" I was like, "Yeah, like this was like one of the bigger songs. I think it was from like All American Rejects." Mm-hmm. He goes, "You would be made fun of at my high school if you would listen to this." I go, "Sounds good.
Thanks.
I think my era is over now."
Right.
Yes.
Did you
what's
say,
cool.
hey, I know you're a family member, but I can still punch a hole through your face
Yeah.
for being a bit of an arrogant, you know what?
He was just trying to help, I think.
He was trying to help.
I don't
But
like it.
at the
I don't
same
like it
time-
for you, Marsh.
At the same time, I think some of the music he listens to
Is
my
garbage.
era. I think it's garbage.
Oh, some of it is so bad.
It's so bad.
Some of the rap that these kids...
the mumble rap.
Oh, God. Oh, they don't enunciate any of the words. I'm like, what? This is torture. This isn't music. This is torture.
This is bad.
Yeah.
All right. No offense. I do think both make the playoffs. I think the more likely scenario is that Mizzou makes the playoffs.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Just based on the simple fact that the Western Conference is going to be a really tough conference. The Central Division is much improved. So, like, if there is a pocket to where the Blues won't make the playoffs, that's more likely to me than Mizzou not making the college football playoff.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Question number 4.
From the 314, what was the biggest waste of talent in St. Louis sports? And here's some of the examples given. Steven Jackson. Nolan Arenado and Paul Goldschmidt.
Oh, I see. From like a team standpoint,
Yeah. Steven Jackson
wasted
might be the
talent.
runaway on this one.
Okay, yeah, that's gonna be tough to beat. Sorry, Marsh, go ahead.
Chris Pronger is also on this list.
No, I disagree with that.
I do too.
They had the President's Trophy winning team, went to a conference final, and they surrounded him with nothing but talent. At one point, the Blues are one of the highest payrolls in the NHL. So I would totally disagree with the Chris Pronger one. Now, Steven Jackson, my old neighbor, great, unbelievable dude. Such a great guy. His mom's a wonderful lady as well. He had absolutely no support at all. Here's the ball. Go get hit 10,000 times.
Mm-hmm.
But we're going to keep giving you the ball, like, as much as we possibly can.
You're going to be great. Yeah, that one's tough to beat, man.
Steven Jackson, by the way, 9:30 tomorrow on the opening drive.
Oh, that'll be awesome.
Nice tease there, Marsh. We got one from the Snake Pit, Todd Gurley. Todd had some injuries. I mean, it started at Georgia.
Can you say, well, this is not a team standpoint, but from an individual standpoint, could you say Eric Johnson? Blues first overall pick.
Yeah, I could see that.
He never really became that dominant defenseman here in St. Louis. He became a good defenseman in Colorado, but...
Well, plus who you pass up on.
But-
Jonathan Tays.
Yeah.
I think I look at waste of talent. I think you used his talent, though, at the time to get what you needed in Chris Stewart and Kevin Shattenkirk. And then in return, you get rid of Kevin Shattenkirk, and that all ended up being, I don't know what player, I think it was some goaltender they got. I forgot his name. But either way, you end up getting Zach Sanford if you go down the timeline,
Yeah.
and he ends up helping you win a Stanley Cup. So,
So it all worked out.
yeah, I think it's funny to kind of look at how
There you
those
go. Some of
transactions
Some of those are a lot
work.
of fun. The breakdowns of like
it's
what
great.
draft pick that you got like thrown into a trade, who that became, or what that draft pick became, then who got traded for that guy and moved, and all of a sudden you're like, and a Stanley Cup champion over here.
Yep, that's really fun, especially like in hockey, but baseball too, where you even like some of the players should be, he was a player to be named later. And then you flip them for this guy and that guy, and all of a sudden you get a Hall of Famer.
There was one player that I always wished I would have seen more in St. Louis because I thought he ended up being a pretty good NHL player, and that's Lars Eller.
Yeah, he was good. I believe you traded Lars Eller for Yaroslav Halak.
Yep.
And Halak was fantastic for the Blues for many years. So, yeah, that's a good one.
What about Chris throws out there from the Snake Pit? What about the great one?
Oh, yeah. That was huge.
How do you?
Yeah.
I think
So that
I
was
think that's it.
okay, but let's just unpack the whole thing though. It wasn't a waste of his talent. Mike Keenan is the one who blew it up. Like it was Mike Keenan and that regime that made Wayne Gretzky say, "I'm not going to re-sign here." Gretz wanted to retire a St. Louis Blue. His wife is from here, and he was like, "You know what? I'm good. I love it here." Hully, all the guys, like his best friend was Hully and all this stuff. And we got beaten double overtime. That was the year Steve Yzerman scored underneath the bar. Still hurts my soul to think about it.
Sorry, Jamie.
But we could have ran it back the next year. Could have easily ran it back with a healthy Grant Fuhr, added some pieces, and we would have been another contender like immediately. But Mike Keenan pulled his antics and then pulled a contract off the table after he thought Gretzky had a bad game. Gretzky's like, "Oh, okay. We're done here."
What was it, 14 games that he played?
No, it was a little more than that.
Or was it, maybe I'm thinking regular season? Because he was traded there midway through the season.
Yeah, he played more than that. I'd have to see here. I'll pull up his.
Either way, not enough.
No.
But when you think of Wayne Gretzky here in St. Louis, you think of the clown jersey.
Yes.
Like he has that type of imprint in St. Louis sports.
Oh, yeah. So we'll tell you right here in a second. I pulled up the old hockey DB that doesn't tell a lie. Yamarshi, very well done. 18 games for the St. Louis Blues, 13 playoff games. How about this? Mike Keenan was mad at him. In 13 playoff games, Gretz had 16 points, and Mike Keenan blamed him.
Yes. Well, his fault.
It's all his fault.
Question number 5.
From the 636, what college football team do you think will surprise a lot of college football fans this season?
Ooh.
You want one potentially from a negative standpoint?
Oh, wow.
Colorado.
Oh, I think they're losing game one.
They might.
I've seen North Dakota State defeat some FBS teams.
Yeah.
I think they're going to win.
That's tonight, too. That's tonight.
Why are you down on Colorado?
Well, so I love Dion,
Yeah, I know. That's why I'm wondering what's going on here.
but it just seems like, well, let's do the football thing first. One, after their fast start last year, people forget. I mean, they started 3-0. They won 4 games, so they collapsed. They have a ton of skill. They have a ton of athletes at the skill positions. Their offensive line is another huge question mark again, and so is the D line. They got pushed around in the trenches. Like as soon as they started to play teams that caught up to what they were trying to do offensively, they just pushed them around. So I don't know if that has been remedied. So from a football standpoint, they're going to lose again in the trenches. I also think that, with Dion casting aside the Denver Post columnist, apparently that's in his contract where if he doesn't like a media member, you could just get rid of him. I think some of the Dion stuff from a media standpoint has worn thin, and you might start to see the frustration come about. But mostly, you don't have an O-line. More transfers, I think, than anybody.
You think he'd have made an O-line protect his son at quarterback?
You would think.
Just saying.
Yeah, so it might be a long year. Or they can win 52-0 tonight, and we all don't question it. But
from my standpoint, I think a team that could squeak into a college playoff is Utah.
I can see Utah doing that.
They're fairly ranked at 12 right now, but nobody ever really looks at Utah and me, man, that's a juggernaut team.
They're always well coached.
They're well coached. Watched a bunch of stuff on ESPN about it. Pat McAfee had some guys on talking about it. They could be disruptors.
Yeah, I can see that too. I like your Utah pick. Is there like a deeper sleeper here?
I know I was looking like Miami.
Oh, Miami. It's Miami. Because we do this every year with Miami, and I get it. Like, it's fair. They earned it. It's Miami. It's the U. Everybody's excited, and then nothing.
I think that
Miami team's loaded.
I think Miami fans are thinking. Actually, my roommate's a huge Miami fan.
They're going to be great this year.
He is already planned out tomorrow, Saturday. Hey, fellas, we're sitting on the couch all day.
Yeah.
Miami, 2:30. Be there. Be square. This is the type of season for Miami that I think Mizzou fans feel. Like, this is the biggest year since X.
Yeah, I could see that. You go back to, so they lost the one to Georgia Tech last year. They completely blew that.
You just got to take a knee.
Just take the knee, you're good. They lost by 10 to North Carolina. Things started to go, as Jamie would say, wobbly pops on them at the end. They only lost by 7 to Florida State. They lost by 7 to number 10 Louisville. They played some tight games last year, and they got much better this season. I think that defense is going to be really good. Miami,
all right,
is my pick. It's funny. I looked at Miami, and then you had said it right before. Get out of my head. All right. This was interesting. So Marsh found this little clip from a current pitcher in Major League Baseball talking about Michael Wacha, analytics, and the Cardinals. It's not what you think. That's next on 101 ESPN.
Spicy.
For your time check is brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. So Ross Stripling, former MLB, well, I guess he's still pitching, actually. He's pitched for the Dodgers. He's pitched for the Giants. He's with the A's now. He was on Foul Territory, which is A.J. Przynski's podcast. And you want to listen to this. This is really interesting. He's talking about investment in analytics, and it's on another level. But he mentions former Cardinal Michael Wacha and the analytics from the Cardinals' perspective. And as I teased, it's not quite what you think. Here's Ross Stripling on Foul Territory.
No, I definitely think there's teams that are significantly ahead of others. I was raised in the Dodgers organization where I would say they could be on a pedestal all by themselves. I would imagine there's a couple teams up there with them. But, really it comes down to an investment in like human capital, right? Like the early teams, the Dodger teams that I was a part of, Farhan Zaidi was an assistant GM. Anthopoulos was an assistant GM, and obviously then you have Friedman and his guys as well. So like they were investing in elite human talent and capital just for their information, right, and what they can bring to the table and an edge that you can get there. So that's a expense that a lot of teams don't have, right, that the Dodgers do. And then you move on to the Blue Jays, Giants, and A's for me, and I would say, yeah, I've seen a big difference as far as just an investment in analytics and how they use it and how they're able to relay it down from the front office through the assistants, through the coaching staff down to the players. And, the Dodgers were elite at that. And I would say I have not been on another team that is as good as they are at that. And, Oakland here, we get great opportunities because a lot of kids, it's very much like, here's 9 innings, buddy, go play baseball like it's been played for 100 years. We're not super analytical over here, even though, we get the money ball type stuff. But I would say we kind of stopped around then. And, a lot of teams, I think, have continued to invest in analytics at a high level. And we're, probably somewhere in the middle. I heard you guys talking about the Cardinals. I would guess from Michael Wacha, who I know played over there for a long time, and how he'd talk about it was Yachty. Yachty called the game. Yachty called the pitches. He put his fingers down, and that's our analytics. I would say I would agree with Kratzy when he said they're probably a little bit behind, because when you have a catcher that's elite like that for that long, you kind of the game changed in the amount of time that Yachty was in the big leagues. So I would imagine they are a little bit behind.
Wow. He's not wrong, right? It's what we've talked about.
Spicy.
Stop trying to make spicy work.
You know what? I'm going to keep going, okay? At some point, it's going to catch on.
I don't know, Jamie.
I don't either.
Anyways, one, he's not wrong. Two, we've talked about this. We've talked about the Cardinals being behind, and it's not like, oh, we just came up with this. Oh, look at us, we're geniuses. No, that we have been told from other people that have observed, that are in baseball, that have observed the Cardinals, either inside or out, that say, yeah, you know what? Whether it's the pitching laboratory thing or other aspects, lack thereof, or other, development tools that they don't have. So when Ross Stripling says that, and he's just echoing what Michael Wacha said, how much do you think sometimes we hear from fans, it's all about the analytics with this club. I don't know if it is.
But it
was Yachty.
I think that's the perception, right? Because
Dave Duncan. Before that, everybody talks
or everybody thinks, because Mo speaks a certain way and whatnot, like this team has got to be a bunch of like analytical people. And meanwhile, if you find out slowly that Dave Duncan had his analytics that he kept in his notepad and like whatever, like the beginning.
He had a trunk full of notebooks.
I sympathize with him in the same way. Then he's right. You get a guy like Yachty who is there for an eternity. So you never truly realize that maybe you need more resources, because the resources are all hidden and covered up because you have an elite catcher who his brain is all the analytics.
Yes.
And then he's gone and you go, oh, wow, that's different.
You had the cheat codes for decades. You had the Cliff Notes. Remember Cliff Notes?
I do.
March, did you guys have Cliff Notes?
I'm not that young, Anthony.
Was it online, Cliff Notes?
I know Cliff Notes, Spark Notes.
Were they online?
Yeah.
We're talking about the yellow book. There's yellow books. There's
maybe I am.
Books.
It could take, oh boy, it saved you a lot of time.
It certainly did. The old Cliff Note. Well, they had it. They had it in Yachty. They had it in Dave Duncan. They had the Cliff Note version. So it's like, that damn team's so analytical. It's not anymore. They are behind. So what do? You bring in old veterans to try to recapture that, and it ain't working.
And one thing, too, that I thought was interesting, what he alluded to was, and we have said it now for a number of years, investing into the team doesn't necessarily mean going out and spending money on a superstar. How about you take the resources that you have and spend more money on your front office, your development? He's talking about two guys now that are, super established presidents of baseball operations in their own areas. Yep. They were working under. They were assistant GMs. Mm-hmm. And you've got, Michael Gersh here, which I'm just going to lie. I'm not going to lie. I don't know much about Michael Gersh. I don't know what he does. I'm not insinuating he doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
I'm not. That's not my point.
Yeah,
my point is
you don't know the role.
You've got John Mozeliak, Michael Gersh, and you've got Chaim Bloom, who just popped onto the scene.
He's a consultant.
But where's the rest of the guys?
Mm. Yeah.
So they're not investing in their own product.
And maybe you don't know what you have, too.
Correct.
Like there's some guys, like we've heard Ryan Ludwig's name brought up constantly. I remember it was, before Luddy, it was everybody had to go down to the minors to get fixed by Buddha, Mark Budaska. And then they'd come up and they'd be fixed. It's like, oh, well, let's just elevate Buddha. And then Buddha got elevated, but at the same time as Jeff Albert, because you wanted this. And it wasn't a bad idea. I don't think it was
I thought
dumb.
It was a horrible idea from the start. I really did.
I understand what's the phrase? If you got three people in charge of the dog goes hungry.
Yes.
If you have three people in charge of feeding the dog goes hungry. I get that. I also understand what they're trying to do, at least. It just didn't work. Jeff Albert, more analytics. Mark Budaska, more like, the old school. It didn't work, and they got rid of Buddha. So I also wonder, from a coaching standpoint, if they don't know what they have down in the minors or some of the developmentals that were like, hey, this guy's actually, this works, and we're not taking advantage of it.
I just find it ironic that the fans think that the team's too analytical, and by what
agree.
it sounds like the Cardinals actually aren't good at analytics.
Right.
Well, they're not using them properly, and again, we talk about these pitching labs. How can you be one of the most established franchises in all of Major League Baseball and not have what the Joneses are having? Mm-hmm. Like, I know the Dodgers have more money than you, but they don't have, bigger brains than you. You see the Dodgers... maybe they do, Marshy, fair enough.
They could.
But you see the Dodgers with the pitching labs. You see all this. So at some point, don't you catch on?
Or you're too arrogant.
Well, yeah, that could be it too.
Jamie, I think, no, you nailed that. You're right. Somebody's having success. So you could do two things, right? And forget just the Cardinals, forget baseball. In life, you see somebody having success. You have three options. You either say, yeah, good for them. Ignore it. Get jealous, say, I can do it better, or it's not, that's a fluke, or learn something from it. And if the Cardinals view the Dodgers as, man, they have got a lot of success, and they're saying, what we're doing is fine, then you're arrogant.
But to not even explore the possibility and to not have enough vision to see where the game might be going, to also have the vision that the players you're drafting are going through all these different pitching labs that are private companies that are helping pitchers, and they're the hitting labs that are working with batters, and you're not doing any of that.
Yeah.
The game is moving in a direction, and you refuse to follow it.
Right. Well said. All right. It's the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. You're going to have an opportunity right now to get your hands on some free Sammy Hagar tickets, because we have your shot. Score a pair of lawn tickets to Sammy Hagar's sold-out show on August 31st at Hollywood Casino Amphitheater. It's this weekend. Sammy will be joined by Michael Anthony, Joe Satriani, and Jason Bonham for a huge sold-out show this Saturday night. You can text in and win free tickets right now if you answer the trivia question, which is, what word is Jamie trying to make happen? He says the kids are saying it.
All the kids are saying it.
Marsh says kids ain't saying it.
Marsh is too old.
Jamie's just trying to make this word happen. What word is that? Text in 314-399-9646. If you're the 101st texter with the correct answer, you can score those tickets to the sold-out show, and you can check out more information and register to score tickets, other chances to score tickets at 101ESPN.com or on your 101 ESPN mobile app. We have Hot Take or Hot Garbage next on 101 ESPN. Hot take. Time for hot take or hot garbage here in the Fast Lane on 101 at ESPN. If you got a hot take or hot garbage, you can send it into the Air Comfort Service text line at 314-399-9646 or the Snake Pit. That's our Airlines Team YouTube channel at 101 ESPN STL. Marsh, what do you got for us?
All right, from the 314, hot take or hot garbage. The shine for Deion Sanders has worn off.
I don't necessarily know if it's worn off for me because the reason why I'm a Falcon fan is because of Deion, and I've always just kind of dug his act and all that stuff, and I think he is genuine. I think the shine has worn off for media members. I think that if you listen to College Football Podcast, obviously he had the run-in, at least online, with Feinbaum, who said that he's irrelevant. Colorado is irrelevant, and Deion had some words back for him. The one thing that media members really hate is when you ban somebody or you restrict their access just because you don't like questions or some of the things they might be doing. Mm-hmm. And that's what Deion did lately with the Denver Post columnist. So I think the shine has worn off for a lot of the media. And I think that it's starting to become personal with some people, hoping that Colorado will fail.
I think it's a lot of people that want Colorado to fail. And we saw it last year with Colorado State. That head coach was all, he didn't like the whole, whatever. Now, Deion ended up,
Jay Norville.
They ended up beating Colorado State and ended up being a thing in the shades and all that stuff. But listen, Deion Sanders, his entire life has been like drinking from a fire hose. Mm-hmm. That's what made him so special, was the fact that he thought he could do anything and he was going to do it to the best of his ability and better than anybody else could do it.
Yeah.
And then when he did it that way, he was going to tell you how good he was and how much better he is than you. That's what made him a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
This is what created Deion. So to think that that was going to change, it's not. It never will.
Right.
So I don't think Deion's lost his shine. I just think that some people now, when you're running a college football program, you have to just, instead of being the volume at 10, bring it down to like a 7. Mm-hmm. And let the program start to speak for itself.
Right.
Instead of you doing all the speaking and then banning people from being able to talk to you.
Right.
When they know you love to talk. You love to talk about yourself. You love to talk about your kids. You love to talk about all the things but if I ask you a question you don't like, you can't just kick me out of the room.
Right. Absolutely. I agree. It should, look, I think there should be respect on both sides. There's also members of the media that are trying to get a quote, a headline, clickbait.
And they're poking, and they're poking. They're waiting for the blow up.
Those people should be given a little bit of a runway and then bounced by the team.
But here's how you handle that. And just straight up. You make a note. You tell your PR person, say, hey, schedule a one-on-one. Mm-hmm. Like 3 of us in a room, whatever, with that person. And you sit down the next morning.
And you beat the living.
No, that's why you have another person in the room.
Oh, my bad.
Okay. I understand. Don't totally disagree. But the professional way to handle it is then you sit down and say, all right, what's the beef? Like, what are we dealing with here? Is there something I did that you don't like? Because your questioning really is not about the football team. You're coming at me all the time. Yeah. And so for me to answer your questions properly, I got to feel like I'm not always under attack.
Right.
And then the media member can say, well, you never answer my questions properly. You don't, point to me. I don't get my opportunity. And, but so, okay. Then you're back on the same page. Go back to the press conference the next day or whatever it is the next week, see how it rolls.
Yeah.
And usually there's an amount of respect at that point. You're like, okay, we sat down, we talked it over. The questioning usually becomes way more direct and not insulting. And then the coach can now answer the questions to the best of their ability.
Sure.
That's how you create more relationships from media to coaches, but that doesn't happen all the time.
Yep.
And everybody just digs their heels in, and then you end up with this craziness.
Right.
It's disrespect on both sides.
Yeah, you're just chasing your tail and you're going back and forth.
Yep.
Zeus from the Snake Pit said, I don't think the shine is off so much, but he's going to have to win now. I agree. You talk so much crap.
Yep.
You got to put up or shut up.
Yep, Zeus is right. In March, I I agree with you there too. You can't talk about crap. He also said, and Jamie, I know you love this line because I remember you saying it. At one point last year, he said, "You better get me now." It was after a loss.
Yeah.
He goes, "You better get me now." Okay, all right.
That was after, who did they play? Oregon.
Yeah.
Oregon, that's right. You get me now.
Yep.
Because a year from now, 2 years from now, you won't be able to.
There's a lot of there's a lot of people too that feel as though that Deion is only about himself. A lot of it's a facade. A lot of people had issues with what he did at Jackson State and how he left and going to Colorado. But then on the other side of it, he also took the Colorado job in part so that his assistant coaches and everything could get paid a higher salary. Mm-hmm. I don't think it's ever just one thing with Deion. You know, he has the interaction with the reporter, but then he's also helping set up bank accounts for his players so that they know how to properly save their money. Mm-hmm. You know, he's kind of, again, it's not just one thing with Deion or one side.
I wonder if it's just his clique, though.
It might be.
Because we talked about this months ago where there was a player on Colorado last season, and who knows if that player was actually good. But it seems like he was a little bit sour because Deion would play favorites with certain players.
Sure. Yeah. And if that's the case...
All coaches do.
That's true. Yeah. Sports is very political. Especially at the youth level.
Yeah.
Yeah. We do have a breakthrough, by the way.
Oh, what do we got?
On the word spicy.
Which was the correct answer to the Sammy Hagar trivia question today. What do we got, Jamie? Breaking news.
Carson Rivers, oldest of the Rivers clan, says, at first she's like, I don't know if I'm using it. Apparently I worded it wrong.
Okay.
And she comes back and goes, yeah, well, spicy refers to like risque. I'm like, yeah. I go, but it's a thing, right? Mm-hmm. She goes, I mean, yeah. She goes, I say it, but it's not for interesting. It's more for like risky. I'm like, okay.
So it's a thing.
It's a thing.
You didn't use it right.
No, I think I did.
Not based on what cards are the same.
I don't care what she says.
That's your daughter.
I don't care.
It is a word in the English dictionary.
It is.
We did establish that.
We did, yeah.
All right, from the from the 636, hot take or hot garbage. If the Chiefs win a third straight Super Bowl, Andy Reid will be in higher regard than what we perceive Bill Belichick to be right now as a head coach in the NFL.
Hot take. Belichick has 8 Super Bowl rings, Anthony. 8.
Andy Reid would have taken 2 teams to the Super Bowl, 2 different teams to the Super Bowl, something Belichick didn't do.
That means he got fired.
Belichick got fired
Not
too.
while he was in New England. That run. Well, eventually he did.
Belichick never went three-peat. Reid would have done the three-peat. His ability to coach as long as he has. I mean, they both had that, but I don't think it's just about Super Bowl rings at that point. 3 consecutive wins. Different organizations took two different teams to Super Bowls.
Patriots had 3 Super Bowls in 4 years.
His coaching, Chiefs could get that too.
8 Super Bowl.
His Andy Reid's coaching tree, if you want to like say what they've done too for like the NFL and football, his coaching tree is a hell of a lot better than Belichick's. I mean, it's not even close.
There it is. All the other coaches are making him what he is.
Bill, I feel like people forget, like Bill Belichick wasn't Bill Belichick before he got to New England.
No, he was. He was born William Belichick.
William Frederick Belichick. I don't know what it is, but I don't either.
Like his tenure in Cleveland, that didn't go good.
No.
What?
That was more known for Bernie Kosar's exit.
In fact, I think a lot of people thought that could happen again with the whole Brady and Drew Bledsoe situation. And they talked about that in Dynasty.
Yeah. Yep.
Who knows?
Bill has no issues cutting your ass.
No, none.
It's a long list.
Boy, wish he could coach the Cardinals.
Well, he could. Arizona might. I mean, they seem to like their coach, and but you know, it's Belichick, so you never know. Mm-hmm. It'd be interesting to see him work with Kyler Murray. Oh, not those Cardinals. I got you now. All right, we got biggest question of the day next on 101 ESPN. Jamie Rivers, Anthony Stalter, our guy Stewie's on the line right now. And Stewie, one thing that I love and I respect about you is how you're willing to help our veterans. And one thing that you can do for veterans is set them up with certain things that they don't know about.
That's right. If you have a VA loan and you're a veteran, first of all, thank you for your service. You can go from one VA loan to another VA loan. There's no appraisal required. Income doesn't count, and you can save a bunch of money. We just closed on a customer that we did his loan 8-9 months ago. He's saving, and I am not kidding you, $640 a month on his payment. $640. Didn't cost him a dime. He actually lost his job, which is irrelevant. Just based on your credit, from one VA loan to another VA loan, free with the bagel loan, $640 saved.
It's incredible. It's incredible. Love hearing these success stories. And, Stewie, it's all because of what you guys do over there at Stewart's American Mortgage Corporation. And if you want any help, if you're a veteran right now and maybe you have some questions or you need some help with some financing or buying a home or whatever it is, call our guy Stewie on his personal cell phone number. That number is 314-324-4440.
Again, that number is 314-324-4440.
Call him, text him, days, nights, weekends, doesn't matter. Stewie is there to help you. And if you can't remember that number, Anthony?
You can always Google the bagel loan. Thanks, Stewie.
Have a good night, guys.
NMLS number 226715.
ESPN Sports Center.
I'm Andrew Marsh. It's time for a Sports Center update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. The Cardinals pick up a victory earlier today, a final score of 4-1 over the San Diego Padres. They end up splitting with San Diego, and they look to New York as the Cardinals will take on the New York Yankees. Eric Fetty on the mound tomorrow, going up against Marcus Stroman. First pitch is at 6:05. Mizzou football kicks off their season tonight. 7 o'clock kickoff against Murray State. We talked a little Mizzou football and some college football throughout the show. So if you missed anything from today's show, make sure you go to 101ESPN.com or check out the free 101 mobile app. Just head to the podcast page. You'll find all of our shows there. And it's all brought to you by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. We have our biggest question of the day coming up next. I'm Andrew Marsh, and this Sports Center update is brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, an independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
It's time for the Fast Lane's biggest question of the day.
You heard the big voice there. Time for the biggest question of the day. With Jamie Rivers, I'm Anthony Stalter, Andrew Marsh.
All right, we get a question from the 636. When will the Cardinals have a front office willing to adapt to the changing game and restore winning back to the franchise? Do you guys think that the Cardinals can actually fix the problem, and are they willing to fix the problem?
All right, so I love this question, Jamie. Let's start off first with what the actual problem is. To me, and Jamie, if you have a different viewpoint on this, let's explore it. But for me, the actual problem with the Cardinals is that they think they can just use the Flexall every offseason. Flexseal. I keep calling it Flexall.
You can use Flexall.
Flexall. Yeah.
Flexall is different.
Flexseal. They keep using the Flexseal on everything. Oh, we just have a hole. We just got to address the hole. You got issues beyond the hole. Why does the hole keep happening? Yeah, you keep fixing it each offseason by just addressing needs. Mm-hmm. I think it's a organization-wide problem. I think they need to invest more in their scouting and their development for the young players. I think they need to stop signing veterans on their last legs or average veterans and giving them 4 years, blocking opportunities for these young guys who you wind up trading anyways, and just say, hey, we're more committed to using our resources and our monies to the minor leagues than we are to getting that next veteran. That's my opinion. I think that the organization needs a change in philosophy. So that is what I think the problem is. They think they can just patch it over, everybody will show up, we'll make the playoffs. You ain't good enough to make the playoffs anymore.
So I look at it as, let's say it's a car that you bought, that was really good in the 60s or the 70s. And it was really successful for you. So you kept going back to the same car for the rest of your life. And eventually that car can't do what it needs to do.
Right.
Meanwhile, everybody else is driving around in way more fuel-efficient cars, more money in their pockets. They got a little turbo boost on the old four-cylinder that's outlegging your V8 now. But this car was good to me at one point.
Right.
This car got the job done.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the Cardinals are. They just keep going back to the old car that they had when they were 16 because it was great memories.
Yeah.
Right? You loved that car back then. Let's bring it back.
Right.
No. Everything else, the world is operating at a torrid pace, and especially in professional sports. Like the games, every sport is evolving on monthly, yearly, bi-yearly, every decade. It's more and more. And the Cardinals keep going back to the same recipe that they had 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And that's not working anymore.
People don't want that meal anymore.
They're tired of it.
Yeah.
I like to compare the Cardinals to, and this will be fun for all my fellow geeks out there, but I like to compare them to Star Wars and the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Because right now, Star Wars, huge brand. MCU, huge brand. But right now, they're kind of in a funk, I think. And they're trying to recapture the spirit with old characters and cameos and stuff like that. That stuff is fun, and I like that. It's entertaining, but is the movie or the TV show, is it actually good? Is it a good product? I don't care about it's fun seeing all these old characters come back and these old ideas come back. They're rehashing them. But at the end of the day, are you putting out a good product? And right now, I don't know if Star Wars is doing that. I don't know if Marvel is doing that. Now, they just came out with Deadpool and Wolverine. There's a ton of cameos in that. But I felt like that movie was good. Some people maybe not. Maybe they don't like it. But that's kind of where I'm at right now, is that's what the Cardinals are doing. They're so like, well, we can bring back all these old people because that's what people used to like. It's like, no, yes, bring them back.
It works once.
But make sure it works within the story, right?
Yeah.
Like, make sure that the story is good. Make sure the team is good before you start bringing all these old pieces back, because really it doesn't make sense for what you're trying to accomplish.
So I don't know if you're going to agree with me on this, because you and I disagree on this last movie. However, I think that you'll appreciate at least the me building off of what you just did. Jurassic Park.
Terrible. Not the first movie, Jurassic World, the third one.
Yeah, so you didn't like that.
I hated it.
For me, I was a kid when I saw the first one. And man, I was like, this is unbelievable. Like, they have brought dinosaurs back and they're eating people. Yeah. I'm in, right? Like, this is phenomenal. They did 3 of those, never really matched the success of the first one. Mm-hmm. They rebooted it with Jurassic Worlds. And I thought the first 2 Jurassic Worlds were pretty good.
I like the first one. The second one, I'm still on the fence of.
Sure.
Third one, didn't like it.
Okay. But to your point, when they rebooted, they didn't reboot with the same characters. They came back with Chris Pratt and what's her name? Ron Howard's daughter.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Ron Howard's daughter.
Yeah, that's it. You got it.
Oh, what is her name? Bryce Dallas Howard.
Nailed it. They brought her in. They brought in different characters, right? Still had a couple of them. But by the third one, for me, when the nostalgia kicked in from '94, watching the first one, I'm like, oh, cool. They're bringing back some of the old characters.
Well, that got you to the box office.
Sure, it did. Now you and I actually thought the third one was good. They tied everything together. I know you didn't love the locust part of whatever, but it works once. Jamie the car, it's like, we're just going to keep bringing back the same people, and you're going to show up and you're going to love it. No, you got to reboot at some point.
Yeah,
you need a new vision.
So you going back to the Jurassic World thing, like, you like the part, I forgot, you would know because you know dinosaurs. The thing with it flaps.
Yeah, the Dilophosaurus.
Yeah, they recreated that.
I didn't.
He just made that up.
I actually don't.
No, I believe you.
I don't do the Stalter thing on the dinosaurs.
Yeah, you never know, dinosaurs
because we don't know.
I've read so many dinosaur books to Killian. I know it's the Dilophosaurus.
So they recreated that in the third Jurassic World movie.
Yeah.
That's an iconic scene in Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
To me, that did not hit the same that it did in the first movie, because it just didn't work for me. Mm-hmm. Now, like, the thought process is like, oh yeah, I love, that's awesome because I love it. But like as a whole, the movie I didn't gravitate towards. So that part in particular didn't hit for me.
You're almost watching it almost like a singular entity. You're just watching that movie where I can connect the dots along the way because of the nostalgia. Going back to the Cardinals, I think it worked for a little bit when they brought back Pujols, and it worked like, oh, this is great. And the Cardinals have tried to recapture that for the last 2 years.
Yeah, but so let's isolate that just for a second.
Brutal.
They brought back Albert freaking Pujols.
Right. They brought back the Cardinal.
They didn't bring back, I don't know, give me an average player. Over the year. Like someone who was here, they're fine.
So the guys on the roster right now?
So Randall Grichuk. Let's just use that because we use it early.
Sure.
It's not like, hey, we made a big, we're bringing him back, folks.
Right.
Hell, you brought back Albert Pujols.
Yeah.
And he stunk until the All-Star break. Mm-hmm. And then, boy, did it change. But it was Albert Pujols.
Right. It's just different.
Like, I'll never forget the moment.
Chasing history, too, by the way.
And I'll never forget the moment when Albert Pujols came walking out of the bullpen with his bats at spring training as a St. Louis Cardinal again.
Yeah.
I didn't care if he ever hit a home run. I'm like, Albert's back.
Yes.
If you're going to do that, that's the signing.
Right.
It's not Brandon Crawford or Matt Carpenter, as good as Carp was as a Cardinal. Like,
I agree.
You got to just stop doing that. Just get over it.
Yep.
Create new memories, Anthony.
I agree. Dr. Smooshy Poops there in The snake pit goes, these guys are so tired of talking about this awful baseball team that they'll create any analogy just to talk about something else. Nailed it.
Well done.
It's the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. Splashback Deuces, they didn't bring back Newman for Jurassic Park. You're right, but
No, but they recreated that specific...
Yes.
Like
the first
thing.
one, the first movie is not named Newman, and Newman's from Seinfeld. That's not the character's name in it. Dennis Nedry is the first one. But those two guys are in the first one, and they talk about stealing the dinosaur embryos.
Yeah.
They both died in the same way. First movie.
You're giving a lot of the movie away.
I think we're good.
Yeah, when you put it that way, like that
think
is
our listeners are
poetic. But my point was the movie
I
itself
completely got yours,
did
but-
not hit for me.
Sure.
So that moment in particular, it fell flat for me.
I completely get it.
It felt shoehorned in because everyone loved that scene in Jurassic Park. We got to put it back in this movie because we
Right.
have all the characters here.
Yes.
That was a heck of a part, though.
It certainly was. And if Jamie saw it, he would have agreed
see
with
it.
that.
I saw all of them. I've seen all these dinosaur things.
You haven't
The
seen all
kids love
6 of them.
Yeah, the kids love them. We did a marathon one weekend.
Did you?
Yeah, me, Ashley, her
I love the
boys.
marathons.
Yeah.
They're making a new one, by the way. It's called
Shut
Jurassic
the
Park
front door.
or Jurassic World Rebirth. Scarlett Johansson is one of the main characters.
Sold.
It's honestly,
She's a great actress, Anthony.
I'm really excited about it because the director is Gareth Edwards, and he directed Star Wars Rogue One, which I absolutely love. And he also did, I forgot the name of the movie. It was pretty recently, though. It was like an AI movie with a bunch of robots and stuff. Forgot the name of it, but I watched
I
that.
Am Robot.
No, not
just
that
about
one.
to say that.
That's actually, I like that movie.
Was it Will Smith?
Will Smith and Sonny.
That's right.
Sonny the Robot.
Sonny the Robot.
You'll know it when you see it.
Tom Brady's baby mama's in there.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Black Widow's fighting dinosaurs next, huh? That's good.
Yep.
All right. We've got
Seems normal.
criticisms and compliments. Bet the board. We have to go over
Yes.
an absolutely epic night by Jamie Rivers. I'm not even mad. I'm impressed. We'll tell you what he did and how he completely changed Bet the Board last night. With his own creation, too, by the way. That's next on 101 ESPN. you missed anything from today's show, you can always download the podcast available at 101ESPN.com or on your 101 ESPN mobile app. It's all brought to you by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. Nailed it. Zoosh says, and I think he's kicking off the crap sandwich here. He goes, hey, at Fastlane, I don't know why, but y'all were just hilarious today. Thank you, Zoosh. I think it's a partial crap sandwich.
I don't know about that, Anthony.
I don't know why you guys were funny, but you guys were funny today. Thanks, Zoosh. Appreciate you, kid. All right. Bet the board was completely changed last night by the one and only Jamie Rivers. So Jamie decided to put together an 8-player/team parlay. He introduced this parlay idea, a couple of weeks ago?
We all had a crack at it last month. So,
okay, so it was at the end of last month.
Yeah.
As a way to upset the apple cart. Now you got to hit all of them, and if you get all of them, if you get an 8-team, 8-leg parlay, you get 8 points if you hit them all. Jamie, why don't you go ahead and break down all your plays from last night?
So I was doing a little research yesterday. Kerry Davis tried to call me out. I spun it, made him feel like he was a bad guy for questioning my work ethic. Mm-hmm. But here's on the money line plays. I had Atlanta, the Dodgers, and the Diamondbacks.
So the Braves won 5-1 over the Twins. The Dodgers won 6-4 over the Orioles, and the Diamondbacks won 8-5 over the Mets.
So then I moved into player props. Saw that my buddy Timmy Tightpants was pitching for the Dodgers, and they only had him at 3.5 strikeouts. Thought it was pretty low. So I took the over 3.5 Ks.
He had 4.
Then I had Manny Machado over 1.5 total bases. I think he ended up with 3.
Manny Machado last night had, let's see here, he went 2 for 5.
Yeah, but it's the total bases.
And an RBI, and yeah.
Total bases. He had 3 total
double.
bases.
Yep.
So you got that.
Okay.
Ohtani was total bases was 1.5. He got a home run.
So there you go.
Did you see the line outside of Dodger Stadium for his bobblehead?
No.
Yeah.
It was insane.
It was nuts. Then I had Ellie De La Cruz for 1.5 home run RBI. You just have to hit the number 2. Any of the things that happen.
Right. So hits, runs,
he hit a triple. That's 3. It was 1.5. I took the over. And the last one was Goldie. Total bases was 0.5. I took the over.
Ellie De La Cruz, by the way, had 1 hit, but he had a run.
3 bases.
But he had a run.
Yeah.
So that's what it is, because it's just 1 hit.
Okay.
And then you got over with the run.
Yeah.
Either way,
I knew it hit. So I had 8 points last night.
Old Notre Dame here nailed it. 8. So Marsh,
update that, please.
With this Arizona Diamondback hitting his 8-leg parlay, where are we at now?
Jamie now leads 15 points on the month. Carey is behind him with 14. Anthony, you have 13, and I have 9.
And you would have taken the Padres last night had I not.
I had him right here. I had to scratch him off.
Carey would have taken somebody else had I taken Luis Ariz.
Yes.
So my beat the streak of 6 or 7 or whatever it was, now done. I had a rough one last night, guys. I'm not happy about it. Jamie, go.
All right, I'm going to keep it simple here. The Dodgers have been playing really good here recently. They're sitting right now on the money line at minus 140. I'll take the Dodgers tonight against the Orioles on the money line.
All right. I've not used my PD parlay yet, but I'm going to wait until tomorrow to see how much I'm chasing. Does Carey have a play? Because he's technically next.
He does.
If not, we have to.
He has Rafael Devers, 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs at minus 150.
All right. Dodgers are exactly minus 150. Give me the Dodgers, please.
I just took the Dodgers.
Oh, did you? I'm sorry. I was looking at my play. That was my fault.
I said, I'm going to make this easy. And actually, the line has changed a little. I've got the Dodgers at minus 140 here.
Okay, my bad. You know what? I'll go football then. I will. Marsh and I were talking about it. Marsh, I hope I'm not taking yours now. But give me North Dakota State plus 9.5 against Colorado. I took it. Yep. Damn it. Sorry.
I'm going to stick with that game, though. I'm hearing a lot about the over in this game. And if I can find it here, it's probably all the way at the bottom because there's an FCS team involved. Here we go. Nope, that's not the right team. Give me a second.
By the way, you can get signed up while Marsh is looking at that. Get signed up. All right, go ahead.
I'm changing it. Give me Lindenwood to cover. Plus 48.5.
Nice. This isn't it their first D1 game?
To play in Kansas.
There you go. You can get signed up to play this year's Fastlane Pick'em Challenge at 101ESPN.com. Make your football picks each week and see if you could beat us and the Riz Show. The Fastlane Riz Show throwing down all football season long in the Pick'em Challenge. Get signed up today at 101ESPN.com. Marsh, go.
Oh, for criticisms and compliments?
Yeah, whatever you want to do.
Whatever you want.
Yeah.
Okay, real quick here. From the 314, have a great weekend, Andrew and Jamie.
Yeah, so tomorrow it's just Bradford and I, and we do have a special guest. I think you're going to like him. He's crazy, and he's fun.
All right, let's get to our 3 stars of the day real quick. Third star of the day goes to people that wait to hit golf balls.
Good call. Yep. Talked about that today.
Very well.
Second star of the day goes out to the Dilophosaurus.
Oh, yes.
Specifically in the first Jurassic Park film.
Absolutely, yeah.
And our first star of the day goes out to a word that Jamie keeps trying to make cool, and that is spicy.
Yes.
Nice. Zoosh said, still no crab sandwich, Stalter. I got you, Zoosh. It's all good. It's all fun.
There's still time.
There's still time. Yeah, exactly. Yep. So Marsh is off until Tuesday. Jamie is off until Tuesday. It'll be Bradford Bruns, me, and a special guest tomorrow. So we'll see you all tomorrow. Thanks, everybody. See you.